But even in the fall, before the winter freeze has set in, quarterback Jim Kelly recognizes the comforts of home.
As everybody knows, when you come into Buffalo, you're not only playing the Buffalo Bills, but you're playing the 80,000 screaming fans at Rich Stadium. And I know plenty of teams that don't want to go through Rich Stadium again. And if I was on the opposing team, I wouldn't want to do it either.
While many NFL teams suffered key player losses with the emergence of free agency, the nucleus of the Bills powerhouse remains intact. And after 2 straight wins, they appear ready for another title run.
I think everybody's still striving for that ultimate crown, just like everybody is. But we know that we have a legitimate chance of being AFC champions again.
Tonight, the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos help us celebrate our 25th year on ABC's Monday Night Football. The Bills are going to put it up tonight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? For Monday Night Party? We got Frank and Al and Dan. They're going to get it kick-started. Lynn and the crew's all set. The crowd is psyched. Because all my rowdy friends are back for Monday night. Rich Stadium in Buffalo, New York, home of the 4-time AFC champion Buffalo Bills. They love their Bills here in Western New York, where the rallying cry is try for 5. And tonight, the Bills are home to take on the Denver Broncos on ABC's Monday Night Football. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. Welcome to Buffalo. Good one for you tonight. 2 old AFL rivals in their throwback jerseys, getting it on one more time. It should be a lot of fun. Buffalo, again, off on a roll. They started slowly. They lost their opener to the Jets, but they've won twice on the road against England, New England, and Houston, and they feel they can indeed go back to a 5th consecutive Super Bowl, if you can believe that one. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos off to a horrendous start. They are 0-3, and 0-3 is bad enough, Al, but 0-3 in Denver is awful when the last loss to the Raiders, 48-16, and if you're a Denver Bronco, it's a good time to be on the road.
And that first loss, Frank, at home was a game in which they blew an 18-point lead to San Diego. Then they lost in overtime to the Jets. Last week, a total humiliation. In fact, a lot of the Broncos described it as a complete embarrassment. Since the dawn of football, players and coaches have talked about playing with confidence and emotion and intensity. And those words are used so often, they very often ring hollow. But tonight, the Broncos better play with at least a couple of those. Clearly, a win tonight on the road against the 4-time defending AFC champs will turn their season around. But another humiliating loss would be the forerunner to probably the longest season the Broncos have seen since the days of the vertically striped socks. Meanwhile, Dan, in Buffalo, things are a whole lot different than they are in Denver. They are 2-1 are the Bills. And what else is new? Looking ahead to a 5th Super Bowl.
The drive for 5, they're calling it here in Buffalo, Al. And the last 4 AFC championship games have been played here in Buffalo, and for good reason. It wasn't because of a fluke, an upset, or some sort of a mistake. The game was here because the Buffalo Bills were head and shoulders above the other teams in the AFC. Now, the good news for the other AFC teams is I think the Buffalo Bills have come back to the pack a little bit. Free agency was tough on this ball club. Injuries have hurt them, particularly in the offensive line. And this is a team that's struggling to score points, scoring only 18 a game. Now, the bad news for the rest of the AFC, the cast of characters that we've all grown to appreciate is still here. Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed still lead this club offensively. Defensively, it's still Biscuit, it's still Darryl Talley, and it is the incomparable Bruce Smith. And folks, tonight, his matchup with Gary Zimmerman as Bruce Smith chases John Elway makes this game worthwhile.
And Bruce Smith is coming off a game in which he sacked the Houston quarterback, Bucky Richardson, 4 times. And there he is, a man who, in the course of his career on Monday Night Football, has averaged about a sack per appearance. And he's in triple figures for his career. The Bills have won the toss. They'll receive. Jim Kelly getting ready to guide the offense after they run the kickback on a beautiful night in Buffalo. It rained last night. It rained a little bit today, but it's cloudy and very comfortable at the moment. And Jason Elam to kick off for the Denver Broncos. Don Beebe and Bucky Brooks are back to receive. Russell Copeland, who normally runs the kicks back for Buffalo, is inactive tonight, nursing an injury, and is expected back next week. Here we go from Orchard Park, New York. Elam's kick is a short one, and it's taken by Bucky Brooks. And Brooks coming to the near side, out past the 20, and then ridden out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Bucky Brooks, the rookie from North Carolina, is tackled by Randy Hilliard. Here come the Bills running the familiar no huddle. Jim Kelly again at the helm with 4 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions thus far this season. Per usual, Thurman Thomas, the feature back, Gardner, the fullback and blocking back, Beebe and Reed on the outside, and Metzelaars, the tight end. Up front, Glenn Parker, Corbin Lucina, Ken Hull, the rock in the middle, John Davis, and huge Jerry Krabs from the 30-yard line. Kelly to Thomas, and Thurman simply drops it. Started to look upfield before he looked it into his hands. 2nd and 10. Now the Bronco defense, and they'll really have to step it up tonight. Dronette, Washington, Williams, and Fletcher, who plays pretty much a hybrid linebacker end position. Kroll, the veteran Mecklenburg in the middle, and Alexander. And then Ben Smith and Ray Crockett at the corners, and Dennis Smith, the longtime Bronco, who is back, and Steve Atwater are the safeties. When the season began, Dennis Smith was not signed. There's a stoppage for the moment. A beach ball got loose on the field. They've taken care of that.
Beach ball in Buffalo.
Yeah, beach ball. It's that kind of a night. Good weather. But Dennis Smith re-signed this week and in the starting lineup, and he's right in the middle of the action there. And Pete Metzelaars was the intended receiver, and it didn't take long for the Bills to go after Dennis Smith, and not long for Dennis Smith to respond in time.
He might just have been a little early with that right arm. You wonder about the timing. He has been in camp for a couple of days, or been working out for a couple of days. He did get the right arm there a little early. He just got a break from the official there. The Broncos playing a nickel as we thought they would, 5 defensive backs.
3rd and 10. It's a 4-man rush, and the pass is incomplete. So a promising beginning for the Denver Broncos defensively, but a flag is down.
I think the cornerback to this side jumped offside. And that's amazing that a cornerback would jump offside.
Offside, number 26.
Wow.
Defense. 5 yards, 3rd down.
Ben Smith was trying to get a jam on the receiver to that side. Here he is right in front of us. And this is just inexcusable to come across the line of scrimmage when you are a cornerback.
Keeps the Bills alive, and we have an injured Bill, rather a Bronco down for the moment. That's number 77, of course.
Carl
Carl Mecklenburg, who is playing defensive end in this nickel defense, shaken up, but appears as if he's going to be all right.
Coach Reeves sends in the play. Marino flips it to the halfback.
Green big enough.
He follows Barry Sanders into the hole.
Practice long enough.
Blows past, which is dead.
Hope hard enough.
Pulls over Junior stay out.
And maybe one day you can play with the NFL's best. Or just bet those guys they can't eat one Lay's potato chip and make them play with you.
Okay, ready to play?
What are they doing here? They couldn't eat just one.
Marino flips it.
Lay's, bet you can't eat just one.
It's time to play Lay's Bet You Can't Name the Game.
Hey, John Elway. I'll bet you can't name the quarterback who holds the record for most completions in a season.
Hold on, I'll get back to you. That's so easy. My agent Maury'd know that.
At the end of the day, more top mechanics in America choose One Motor Oil over any other brand to help keep their own cars running longer. Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline.
How do you turn a 3.5-liter, 24-valve, 214 horsepower cab-forward performance machine into a luxury car? Wash it. Chrysler LHS, an invigorating expression of form following function.
Carl Mecklenburg shaken up, and he comes out. His spot is taken by Harold Hasselbeck.
Carl appears to have been struck in the left eye. They've been looking at his left eye, and you can see it there that it's swelling. They can ill afford to lose Mecklenburg.
3rd down and 5 now after that penalty. And flags are down. Kelly throws. And the pass is caught. The head linesman right there to say that Beebe was inbounds as he made the grab.
Well, Denver way across the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball.
Defense. That penalty is declined.
And even with that bad coverage, as Beebe was being covered by Crockett, there's the movement at the line of scrimmage, giving the Bills an opportunity for the free play. Crockett laying way off of Beebe, and Beebe gets first down yardage and much more.
Shane Dronette was offside, and now it is Thurman Thomas who breaks into Denver territory. And Dennis Smith comes in for the last hit at about the 43-yard line. Appears to be just a little shy of a first down. Steve Atwater got there first.
Let's go back to that 3rd down pass there to Don Beebe. Let's check his feet. Instead of looking at the ball, let's look at the feet. There's the left down, and there comes the right. Initially, it looked at first like maybe his left didn't come down until that first time there out of bounds. Looked like a good call by the official.
They're going to measure here. Marv Levy, who has been the Bills coach since midway through the 1986 season. Sprightly as ever at the age of 66, and they are that much shy of a first down. 2nd and inches upcoming at the Denver 43-yard line. And Wade Phillips in his 2nd season as the head coach at Denver. The Broncos allowing 110 points in their first 3 games. Most by any NFL team in this decade.
Of course, 21 of those were on interception returns. You could tag on the offense, but still it gets hung on the defense. John Elway's had a pass run back for a touchdown in each of the first 3.
On 2nd and 1, Kelly after the play fake is picked off by Simon Fletcher to the 49-yard line. Tackled by Glenn Parker. So Kelly figuring it's a free play at 2nd and inches. The play fake looked downfield, then went underneath, and Simon Fletcher turns in a very big play for the Broncos.
He was trying to go to Andre Reed deep. Reed was well covered by Ben Smith with help from the safety, and as Kelly checked off looking for a receiver in a little closer, his arm was touched just as he released the ball, and Fletcher was right there. And
Simon Fletcher
good hands, too.
Doesn't have a sack yet this season, but he's got the first big play for Denver, a team that desperately needs one.
And absolutely needed one very early in the game. Elway goes right to the air on first down, under pressure, dumps it off, and it's dropped by Leonard Russell. That was a big defensive play because the last thing the Broncos needed after last week's humiliation was to give up a Buffalo touchdown on the first series tonight. John Elway, 4 TDs and 4 picks, and as Dan mentioned, 3 of those interceptions have been run back all the way. Bernstein and Leonard Russell in the backfield. Anthony Miller is the ex-Charger. Cedric Tillman starts on the other outside spot, and Shannon Sharp is back in. Zimmerman, Nylander, Waddell Habib, and Freeman, the interior 5. That's Bernstein, who's missed some action with a hamstring pull in motion, and Russell, the former Patriot, taking it to the 47-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Mark Maddox makes the tackle after he broke what would have been a Bruce Smith tackle. Mecklenburg's eye is still being worked on. And here is the Bills' defensive alignment. The 3-4 base, Hanson, Lodish, and the great Smith. Bennett, Patton, Maddox, and Darryl Talley. The backers. The corners are Washington and Thomas Smith, Henry Jones, and the unheralded and unsung Matt Garvey are the safeties. We'll look at Bruce Smith as the Bill defense faces a 3rd down and 6. Glenn Milburn is the 3rd down back. He stays in the block. Elway steps up, fires, catch made. Shannon Sharp, back from a knee strain. He was in and out of the game all last week against the Raiders, a key man who led the team in receptions last year with 81.
He will be key tonight. Derek Russell, the outside receiver, is not in the lineup. This pass was completed to Sharp against a dime defense, 6 defensive backs, and yet Sharp was able to open up, move away from Henry Jones, and Elway with the rifle gets the completion.
2.5 minutes into the game with no score. The Broncos, and it's Bernstein. Pushed back after he picks up 3, takes it to the 34. Marcus Patton makes the tackle. Lynn Swan working the sidelines. What's the update on Carl Mecklenburg, Swanee?
Al, Dan was correct. He took a thumb to the eye. They think he'll be okay. He'll come back in the ball game, but not until they put a protective visor on his face mask. But he should be back in the ball game. Al?
Looks like he was in the ring in London the other night.
Well, that's why they have thumbless gloves in boxing, and there's really a great deal of swelling becoming very visible on that left eye very quickly.
2nd and 7. Elway off the fake, drops it underneath. Good screen. Russell fights his way for a first down. Steps out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Marcus Patton runs him out.
Screen well set up. Of course, Leonard Russell, one of the fine running backs, 1,000-yard season a year ago with New England, one of those unprotected free agents. That they kind of lucked into it, Denver, and he has been a good performer for them. And you see the screen out in front of it. Lander was out there getting a key block. Another first down, Denver.
Broncos at the 21 of the Bills. No score, 11:25 to play in the opening quarter. Cedric Tillman in motion. Here's Rod Bernstein. Gets to the 20. Denver playing with a little bit of a short deck. Bruce Smith makes the last tackle. Derek Russell, who would start as one wide receiver, is hurt, and we'll tell you about Mike Pritchard, another great receiver, in a moment after we take a look at Bruce Smith isolated.
Watch how good he plays the run. He bounces off. Look at him float right down the line of scrimmage and then make that contact with Bernstein. It's real easy for a defensive end to take that one step upfield, see the play going the other way, and say, hey, it's out of my territory. Not Bruce Smith. He's a sideline-to-sideline player.
Russell in motion. There's movement on the left side. It looked like Gary Zimmerman jumped.
Yeah, he flinched.
False start. Number 65. Offense. 5 yards. 2nd down.
You could start a whole new category in this league called flinches opposite Bruce Smith. There is such a premium if you're an offensive tackle to getting some separation, getting back off the ball. Smith is so quick in his initial burst upfield. A lot of guys play light on their heels in an attempt to get started. At times Zimmerman couldn't help himself. He moved.
From the 25, and Bruce Smith comes across the line, and this play is whistled dead.
That's why he's so fast off the ball.
Yes.
He's really fast that time, Dan. The new rule has helped them to some degree, hasn't it, Dan, where they can actually drop that left foot back quite a bit?
They are allowing the offensive lineman to get farther off of the ball now.
Encroachment. Right defensive end. 5 yards. 2nd down.
See, they have so much respect for Bruce here, they won't even name him.
That's right. Bob McAlee, yep.
Afraid he might get smacked.
Right. Just refers to him generically. Walt Corey, a longtime defensive coordinator.
And he's formed a pretty good partnership with Marv Levy. They've been together for quite a while and worked nicely together.
They've had a great thing going for a number of years. 2nd down and 9 from the 20. Bernstein, and he can't escape Marcus Patton, who is showing blitz, came moving through and is able to make the tackle in the backfield.
These Bills linebackers are not big, but they're very quick. Cornelius Bennett with the great speed on the outside. We all know about him, but Patton is a fine athlete. He also has speed. None of them go over 240 pounds, but they're ever so quick. And you see Patton reading it, stepping in front of the block. 3-yard loss.
They caught the Broncos in a blocking scheme where the linemen are pulling, and that is when a blitz is at its most effective because you can run in behind them.
3rd and 13 from the 24. Elway throws and it's dropped by Shannon Sharp. So they bogged down at the 24. The Broncos have one of the best field goal kickers in the league in Jason Elam, and he will now set up for a 41 or 42-yard attempt.
Well, Shannon Sharp is still wearing a sizable brace on his right knee. You can see it. We asked Wade Phelps last night, how far back is he? He said, well, I'd say 90%. Last week it was about 60, but that's a ball Shannon Sharp normally catches.
41-yard attempt. Jeff Campbell will spot it. And Jason Elam's kick is no good. It's the first kick he has missed all season, either an extra point or a field goal. Broncos can't cash in. 9:20 to go in the opening quarter. Denver nothing, Buffalo nothing.
After Automobile Magazine named Plymouth Neon Automobile of the Year, there just isn't a lot left to say.
Sparky! Go get help, boy!
Stuck in the nightmare of everyday life? You need help.
Come here, boy! Keep rolling! A Visa application?
Only Visa enrolls you in Visa Rewards, where 10% of every purchase goes towards savings on fabulous vacation packages. Look in your mail for a Visa application and get away from it all with Visa Rewards.
I'm bored. Let's count the palm trees again. Why are you looking at me like that, Iggy? You okay? Cut it out. You're weirding me, man. Stop looking at me like that, would you? You're creeping me out. Cut that out, man.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Iggy, you're gonna twist my head off. Iggy.
Tuesday, Dad lays down the law when he busts the kids.
You know what they say about all work and no play, boys.
It's an all-new Me and the Boys, Tuesday on ABC.
So Lynn Swan talked about Mecklenburg getting back into the game as soon as they put a shield on that helmet, and there he is, and Carl is back in the game. From the 32-yard line, Thurman Thomas picks up a couple. On the subject of injured Broncos, I mentioned Mike Pritchard's name before. You may have read that he suffered a lacerated kidney, the Bronco wide receiver, in practice. Happy to report he was in intensive care. His condition has been upgraded to fair. He's in a private room in a hospital in Denver. Figures to be released in midweek, and the Broncos expected to play before the season is over. Second down and 8. The catch is made here by Andre Reed, and he has a first down up at the 46-yard line.
Denver is going with the nickel pretty much all the way, particularly on first down. This is what Wade Phillips said he would do, and of course, like every team that plays Buffalo, they know with these three wide receivers, if you go with the nickel, they'll try to run the ball. This time, however, they go to Reed, who has moved to the outside instead of the wingback position. But usually against the nickel, they'll try to run this man.
Thurman Thomas. Andre Reed last week went up and over 600 receptions for his career, the 13th such performer in the history of the NFL.
He's an amazing athlete. As you look at Charlie Waters, the defensive coordinator, who was really under fire out in Denver, but so Thomas carried that ball 355 times a year ago.
Frank, it's a very long line of people who are under fire out there.
Second and 8. Thomas with blocking has the first down and is brought down at the 40-yard line. Ken Hull got out there to throw a real nice block, and Corbin Lucina as well.
Not a whole lot you can do in changing personnel against the Bills, but when they go with their no-huddle offense, and Dennis Smith getting a little breather on the sidelines, we assume he's all right.
Well, you got to wonder, only signing on Wednesday, how many productive plays are they going to get out of Dennis Smith tonight?
Particularly against the no-huddle offense. Things happen quickly out there.
And the guy's 35 years old.
And they bring in Rondell Jones to replace him, and he was torched last week by Hostetler and the Raiders. Kelly throws, the catch is made. Billy Brooks makes the reception and is tackled at the 31-yard line.
What about Dennis Smith too, Dan? not a game of friends out there either. You can be going to Canton, Ohio. They'll find you if they think you're a little bit tired, a little bit out of shape. So Dennis is getting a little bit of a breather.
Mercy is hard to come by in this league. Is that what you're saying?
There is none.
No.
Second and 2. And the completion to the 26-yard line. Reed makes the catch, and that's a first down with 6:50 to go in the opening quarter. No score.
One of the things to watch for tonight is, are the Denver Broncos able to mount any sort of a pass rush against Buffalo? It's hard to get a pass rush against them because they throw quick, and you get tired with this hurry-up offense of theirs. The front four of the Broncos only have a half a sack through 3 games. If they can't pressure Kelly, they're in for a very long night.
That half sack belongs to Ted Washington as Thurman Thomas works his way over the left side to the 20-yard line.
I tell you, playing the defense they're playing, the nickel, the Denver Broncos, either 5 defensive backs, 6 defensive backs, you have got to stop the pass. I mean, you've got to stop the run.
There's somebody down on the ground, a Denver Bronco.
Shaken up.
We do not know who it is as yet. Injury timeout, 6:07 to go in the first. It is Ray Crockett.
They speak it in England, France, and Germany. It sounds the same in the U.S. and Mexico as it does in Hong Kong and Tokyo. It's the international language of business. And wherever it's spoken, Delta Airlines can put you right in the middle of the conversation. And then we'll bring you back to that place where you don't have to say a word to be understood. Delta Airlines.
Building our luxury family sedan, the Chrysler Concorde, we thought of everything, starting with spacious cab-forward design. We gave it dual airbags and child protection rear door locks, ran it for millions of miles, subjected it to thousands of decibels, and hundreds of hours in a wind tunnel. All this to make sure not only did we think of everything, we thought of everyone. Chrysler Concorde, a thoughtful expression of form following function.
Today's engines need Castrol GTX, the motor oil that provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. Because if your oil breaks down, what's next? Castrol GTX, engineered for greater protection against breakdown.
This is a bucket of water, and this is the new Goodyear Eagle Aqua Tread for performance cars. A wide performance tire with twin aqua channels to sweep water away for outstanding wet traction. New Eagle Aqua Tread, only from Goodyear.
The Michigan Wolverines invade Iowa. Colorado tackles Texas. Or regional action from the Pac-10 Big East and ACC. Saturday on ABC's College Football.
The Denver Bronco right in the middle of your screen is Ray Crockett, number 39. Look at his right leg. It gets caught underneath. One of his own teammates rolls up on him from behind. He lifts off the field over the shoulders of a couple of his teammates and medical staff, and we'll give you a report as soon as we get something. He was able to put a little weight on it going off, so maybe it won't be quite as bad as it looked on that replay.
Thurman Thomas picks up 4 on the 2nd and 5, so that makes it 3rd and 1, and Randy Hilliard comes in to replace Ray Crockett.
And let's be serious now. This is a Denver secondary that signed Dennis Smith this week because things weren't going well back there, and now this is just the kind of a damaging blow they did not need.
3rd and 1. 5:15 to go in the first quarter with no score. Ninth play of the drive on a 3rd and 1 is a stoppage by the Broncos as they rise up to tackle Thomas in the backfield for a 2-yard loss. Ted Washington, the first to meet him with 5 minutes to go. Wade Phillips now will look on as the Bills send in their field goal unit, and Crockett tries to walk it off.
That's a very good sign that he's able to stand and put pressure on it.
Oh, it is.
Whether he can come back or not, but it sure looks good as far as it not being a long-term injury.
That they let him stand and try it.
Yeah.
Steve Christie kicked 5 field goals last week for all of the points at Houston. This is a 36-yard attempt for a man who hasn't missed a kick all season, and still hasn't. Buffalo gets on the board first. 4:28 to go. First quarter. Bills 3. Broncos nothing.
Come here,
draft.
Cold filtered beers are smooth, but they're nothing new.
How about an ice?
Ice beers start cold, but most are heat pasteurized. Not cool.
Bud Ice.
That's why Bud Ice is ice brewed and cold filtered to start cold and stay cold. Get real cold with icy smooth Bud Ice and new 96-calorie Bud Ice Light. What more could you want?
Hello, I'm Al Percolo, scout for the New York Yankees. You know, I think I know what's bothering the owners. Attendance stinks.
This season, the World Series will be played, but only in a theater near you.
Get out there and play a good game.
They'll play with dignity, with skill, with integrity.
Just a guy taking 15%.
I thought it was 10. 20th Century Fox presents the comedy that won't strike. The Scout, rated PG-13, starts Friday.
A lot of little touches go into every new Plymouth Neon. A very powerful 132 horsepower engine, a spacious cab-forward interior, and a special chip-resistant finish. And oh, one more thing, dual airbag protection. So, it always practices safe driving. Say hello to Plymouth Neon at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Wednesday, it's a great night of comedy when Grandpa has a hot tip.
You took the kids to the track?
We were sizzling money, money, money.
A new Thunder Alley Wednesday on ABC.
You want to see a good non-call? Look at the left part of your screen. Pete Metzelaar is going to push Randy Hilliard. He ends up hitting Christie, but a nice job of the officials not throwing the flag there because he was pushed into the kicker. Christie didn't fall. He was so preoccupied on looking at his field goal right through the uprights that it was good. He maybe should have fallen and put on a little play.
Now Christie's kickoff fielded by Glenn Milburn at the 11-yard line, and he gets buried up at the 27. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. By Delta Airlines, you'll love the way they fly. And by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. Rod Bernstein is out of the game with a knee sprain. He missed last week's game with a hamstring, and that means Derek Clark, a rookie, will come in and see quite a bit of action, I am sure, in a two-back set.
But Leonard Russell now has to become the guy.
And Leonard Russell is the guy right here who spins away, gets across the 30 to the 31-yard line.
Well, Russell is used to the load because Bill Parcells a year ago ran him 300 times, and now another Bronco is coming out, and that's the big right tackle, Russell Freeman, holding his left shoulder.
Boy, how bad can things go in the Mile High City here? Russell Freeman, a good, solid right tackle, his third-year guy out of Georgia Tech, and hopefully that's just some kind of a stinger there that he'll get the use of that arm back here pretty soon.
Second down and 7 from the 31. Elway gets sacked back at the 17. Phil Hansen.
And he's working against Don Maggs, the guy who comes in off the bench and replaces Russell Freeman. So Maggs, the former Houston Oiler, gets his indoctrination to the pace of this game in a hurry. Boy, that's a big sack, too. That's a lot of yardage.
Maggs have been released early in the year, Dan. They just signed him right before training camp. Hasn't played much to speak of, and Hansen blew right by him.
He came over to Denver last year from Houston for mega dollars. He got a huge contract. They released him and then signed him for a whole lot less.
Third and 19. They've got to get to the 38 to convert, and they do, and then some. Sharp makes the catch and takes it to the 50-yard line. On third and 19, the Broncos, on an Elway to Sharp completion of 31 yards, take it to midfield.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch, though, that Maggs and Hansen duel, because Hansen got by him again, and only Elway's ability to scramble, he found the open spot and found the open Sharp. But Elway under pressure again from Hansen. Sharp wide open in that zone coverage.
3-0 Buffalo, 2.5 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Russell And Leonard moves his way to the 49-yard line.
Pretty good job there, guys, by Henry Jones, the strong safety. Now, he got mugged for his efforts, having to take on 2 offensive linemen at the same time. And poor Henry, only 197 pounds, but he's developed into one of the game's better strong safeties. But he's got the force, and he ends up taking on Habib and Melander. That's called sacrificing your body. It's not over yet.
I feel like you're caught on an expressway.
Good work by Jones, though.
2nd and 9. On a delay, Russell to the 47-yard line. He is tackled there by Darryl Talley. Shot from the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. Rich Stadium, capacity 80,000. They were a little shy of that tonight. In fact, they were so much shy at the deadline that the game is blacked out in Buffalo. No local TV.
Brought out a lot of people at the gate, I think, though, Al, because a few empty seats, but very few.
And beautiful weather tonight. 3rd down and 6 at the 46-yard line. Elway, and he hits Russell, and that's a 1st down. So the Broncos convert back-to-back 3rd down passes to the 37-yard line. 1st down, Denver.
And Bruce Smith gives John Elway a calling card. That won't go down as a sack, but that will go down as a remembrance. John Elway will remember this. Here he is working on Zimmerman. Now keep in mind, Zimmerman's an all-pro. That's just a good, solid, quick, slashing move to the inside. John just barely gets it away before he's drilled.
Bruce Smith has humbled a lot of all-pros.
From the 36-yard line, Reggie Rivers is in there in the backfield now, and he's blocking for the rookie, Derek Clark, who makes his first carry on what will be the final play of the 1st quarter. End of 1 in Buffalo. 3-0. The Bills on top, and back we come with Monday Night Football after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Nobody's perfect, especially when it comes to cars. There's always a chance one thing gone bad will spoil everything. The difference is that at Chrysler Corporation, we're doing something about it. Through Customer One, our renewed commitment to customer satisfaction. Because while nobody's perfect, it sure doesn't hurt to try. Customer One. See the difference it's making at your Chrysler Corporation dealer now.
We asked these women what they think about the new Sicilian-style pizza from Pizza Hut. Wow, they love it! New Sicilian-style pizza from Pizza Hut. A little basil, oregano, and a touch of garlic baked right into the crust for a pizza crust like you've never tasted before.
Calmati, Rosalia. Che ne stai facendo uno spettacolo?
For $8.99, any second medium, $5 more.
This is ABC.
It was forged from a commitment to strength, protection, and to your peace of mind. It is Titan from Kwikset. Titan door locks. Unbeatable strength. Unbeatable security.
I like Mike. I like Mike. I like Mike. I like Mike. I like Mike.
Peter Mahagan and Mary Richardson, weeknights on Chronicles.
Bronco injury woes mount. Rod Bernstein is out, and there is Russell Freeman.
Yeah, he's taken the shoulder pads off. They say he's got a sprained left shoulder, and he's out for now. That's the terminology the Broncos are using. He is out for now. They'll examine him further at the halftime and then make a determination whether or not he can go in the second half.
Starting right tackle is out. Start the 2nd quarter. 2nd down and 9 from the 35. Bills leading 3-0. Catch is made by Reggie Rivers, and he's about 2 yards shy of the 1st down. Tackle made by Mark Maddox. Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf. Lynn Swan on the sidelines. Week 4 Monday Night Football. What a beauty last week. Well, people talking about that for the entire week. Dallas and Detroit.
And they may talk about that for the entire season. That was a special night with Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith. That's
what a
rare opportunity to see those two.
What a showcase for Barry Sanders.
Well, 3rd and 3. This play is dead before it starts.
There's a casual tap by Cornelius Bennett. That's just stepping across the line and giving him a
against the center. 5 yards. 3rd down.
That's about as nonchalant a tap on the shoulder as he can give a guy. Dave Wydell, the center, clinched with the ball. Instead of coming across and letting him have a whap on the head, he just taps him on the shoulder. Once that contact is made, though, there's no play. And Denver just making more mistakes than they need to. And there goes Ray Crockett off the field. Remember, we saw him get his leg rolled up.
So Crockett out, Bernstein out, Freeman out for at least a half. 3rd and 8. And Derek Russell and Mike Pritchard's not here.
Wide open.
Elway scrambling. Oh, old-time John Elway type of run. He does that with less and less frequency, but still with a lot of effectiveness.
I'll tell you, if you don't have some kind of a spy, some kind of a set defense for John Elway, you get a situation like that, he can turn nothing into something big time. The Bills with no one on the coverage, and Elway down the sideline all by himself.
You know, teams for years, a part of their defensive routine was to always have a spy whenever you played John Elway, and I wonder if because of Elway's age, teams have gotten away from that a little bit.
22-yard gain for John. Elway, the fake throws. Oh, he jammed it in there for the touchdown. Anthony Miller with double coverage, and Elway put it right on the numbers, and Denver has 6.
Well, they may be 0-3, but those are 2 of the finest this game has ever produced. Anthony Miller, the wide receiver, came over from San Diego on the slant, got in between Darby and Washington, and Elway found the little slot, got it in there. Miller holds on. Great concentration.
That's Darby's play when he comes to the inside like that. And it looked like Matt just misjudged the angle to go after Anthony Miller. He came too far to the inside.
Jason Elam tacks on the point after, and that's a 72-yard march for the Denver Broncos.
Before you look at it slow motion, and it doesn't look as difficult as it was at full speed. He threaded the needle on that, and he had something on it, and Miller came down with it.
My father used to say that he started Gramercy Press so that the written word would always have a home. And that mission hasn't changed. But it's 1994, and the era of Charles Dickens is over. We use computers, and we still mail manuscripts around the world. Marta still has 12 stacks of reference books on her desk for fact-checking. Curtis still prints a catalog every quarter and drops them in the mailbox. And our most advanced form of communication is Darlene's lovely little message slips. We've been talking to MCI, and this is not about the phone bill, but we're going to make some changes. Not in our ideals, but in the tools that we use.
Everybody had an opinion.
I think it's a great idea. We are finally waking up.
Everything I need at the push of a button, I'd like to see that.
What's wrong with Charles Dickens?
It's appropriate. Art is constant. Tools change.
Digital technology is the future. Whether you're selling books or bagels.
We'll talk.
John Elway going over things with the offensive coordinator and assistant head coach Jim Fossil. Nice 72-yard drive. Elway with a 22-yard run, a 31-yard pass along the way, and then an 11-yard touchdown pass to Anthony Miller. Elam to kick off. Don Beebe and Bucky Brooks back to receive for the Buffalo Bills. Bucky Brooks, 81. He's the rookie from North Carolina. gets into the arms of Brooks at the 17. And it's a 17-yard run back from the 17 out to the 34. Kelly goes to work from that spot. 13:31 to go in the half. Denver 7, Buffalo 3.
Aptiva.
Aptiva.
Aptiva. He can get to anyone in D.C. The man has contacts everywhere.
It's a neurological inflammation of the aptival region.
I'm about to take over the entire empire. And then this droid Aptiva kills me dead.
Aptiva. It's whatever you want, however, whenever, wherever you want it. It's the newest multimedia PC.
Speak.
Hello, I'm Aptiva. From IBM.
Give me a draft.
Cold filtered beers are smooth, but they're nothing new.
How about an ice?
Ice beers start cold, but most are heat pasteurized. Not cool.
Bud Ice.
That's why Bud Ice is ice brewed and cold filtered to start cold and stay cold. Get real cold with icy smooth Bud Ice and new 96-calorie Bud Ice Light. What more could you want?
You got the winning color!
My vehicle is the most important part of my business. Without it, I can't work. I change the oil every 3,000 miles or so. Engine has been flawless, 170,000 plus.
Now with the revolutionary Penn-Star molecule, Pennzoil clings to moving parts, works like liquid ball bearings.
I've always used Pennzoil. It's a quality product. I'm going to drive this thing till it drops, and then I'll just park it on the side of the road.
That's the powerful lineup tomorrow, Tuesday night on ABC, a night of comedy with Full House, Me and the Boys Home Improvement, Grace Under Fire, Coach, and Blue Skies. And then on a Wednesday, it's Thunder Alley, All-American Girl, Roseanne, Ellen, and Turning Point. The Tuesday and Wednesday lineups in prime time right here on ABC, where in Orchard Park, New York, it has begun to rain. For the first time during the course of the game, it rained, well, it's starting to come down
pretty good
right now. Yeah.
It just started. It started as a little sprinkle just about 2 minutes ago, and now it's opened up pretty good.
The prediction was for intermittent showers, and the intermittency has arrived. 1st and 10 for the Buffalo Bills from the 34-yard line. Buffalo down by 4. Kelly under pressure, and it's Simon Fletcher at the 26-yard line. And Simon Fletcher, annually leading the team in sacks, but a notoriously slow starter, has his first sack of the season.
Pretty good start to a game, too. He has an interception and now a sack, working against Jerry Crafts, nicknamed the Condo, and he just beats Crafts around the soft corner. And a pretty darn good start to a game for Simon Fletcher. Oh, and this time he's going to get Kelly again.
Another one. Back to back. So he goes 13 quarters without a sack and then gets them on back-to-back plays.
Oh, my Lord. Charlie Waters getting some of the much-needed tonic this Bronco defense has been searching for.
This time he just comes inside Crafts.
That's called the bull rush. That's just stick your helmet in the other guy's chest and running back to the quarterback.
Well, that other guy's chest weighs 351.
I know, it's not easy to run a guy like that backwards. Simon did it.
3rd and 22, and Kelly throws. He's got Reed, and Andre makes the catch, but he is shy of the first down up at the 39-yard line, hit hard by Ben Smith. They needed 22, and they got 18.
But a fine catch by Andre Reed. I'll tell you, these Buffalo Bill receivers, they will concentrate on the ball. They're not looking for the hit that they know they're going to get. Reed particularly over the middle, wherever he is, you know he's going to concentrate on that ball as he did right there. That was a tough one. He took quite a shot.
Chris Moore to punt from the 40-yard line. Glenn Milburn back to accept it. Milburn fields at the 20-yard line, avoids Tasker, and then gets taken down at the 28. Steve down there in a hurry. Mark Maddox finally makes the tackle. 40-yard kick, 9-yard run back. 7-3 Broncos.
Welcome to another Monday Night Football 25th anniversary moment brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Flying the low-fare airline is just plain smart. In a 1984 snowstorm, the Broncos blitzed the Packers with 2 touchdowns on fumble recoveries in the game's first 37 seconds.
Jesse Clark over the right side, and the surge is out over the 25-yard line. The ball is loose. Fumble again. And this time it's Louis Wright down the sideline. Unbelievable. This has got to be a first. There are no flags.
Southwest Airlines will not lose a fare war. We have low operating costs, so we can offer you low fares on a regular basis. It's not a gimmick. It's not a promotion with us. It's something that we believe in with all of our fiber. It's every seat, every flight, everywhere we fly. Other airlines try to copy Southwest, but they're just facsimiles of the real thing. Southwest is the low-fare airline. If there's a fare war, they're going to get nuked.
Why do more Honda owners come back to Honda? Car after car after car. It could be state-of-the-art engine technology, or extraordinary handling, or maybe it's the feeling that Honda is one car maker that won't let you down.
Tuesday, Jim totals Jill's car.
I didn't get to see your location tool time, though. How'd it go?
Great, tremendous.
Smashing.
It's Home Improvement, Tuesday on ABC.
The Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes has made its way up from Pompano Beach, Florida to western New York. Rain right now is just a drizzle.
Getting a free wash up there tonight.
Yes, he is. Denver leading 7-3. Early second quarter, first down from the 28, and Elway floats one out of bounds. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Flying the low-fare airline is just plain smart. New ice-brewed ice draft from Budweiser. Taste the future of draft beer. And Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Before you start talking about Bud, Al, you saw a look at almost amused look by John Elway. That ball probably had a little moisture on it, and it really was a flyer.
Second and 10. You saw the logo denoting the 35th anniversary season of the Buffalo Bills. Here's the catch made by Lynn Milburn up to the 35-yard line. It'll set up a third and about 3. Bennett makes the tackle.
Yeah, they had a celebration down on the field. They had about 80 gentlemen who used to play for the Buffalo Bills over the course of their 35 years here in Western New York, and a warm reception by the crowd, and a fair number of people in the one end zone started chanting OJ, OJ, as they were introducing a lot of these Bill players. And of course, he's well thought of here in the Buffalo area.
As the trial began today, he was very much on the minds of the Bills alumni. Elway going the other way. He had Miller open, and it wobbled, and it's incomplete.
No coverage at all on Miller. He raised his arm. Elway spotted him, and he knew full well he should have got it to him. He could have set and got this back in the field of play.
Well, the ball, again, looks like it comes out of John's hand.
Had to be.
John Elway throws as tight a spiral as any quarterback in this league. And you can see that ball started to flutter the minute it left Elway's hand. The officials are going to have to work hard tonight to keep the ball dry.
Tom ruined the kick. The rookie Jeff Burris back to accept it. Good deep kick fielded at the 13-yard line by Burris. The 52-yard punt. Tony Kimbrough makes the tackle. 11:01 to the half. 7-3 Broncos.
Nowadays, you see more and more Alamo cars in America's business regions. From the Sun Belt to the Grain Belt to inside the Beltway. You see our Cadillacs on Wall Street and our convertibles in Tinseltown. No matter which belt, coast, or loop you travel to on business, you're in Alamo territory with more on-airport locations than ever and all the miles free, including those in places where doing business isn't all business.
What is thy bidding, my master?
There is a great disturbance in the force. hit his battery.
All too easy. Perhaps you're not as strong as the Emperor thought. Impressive. If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer battery. It keeps going and going and going.
Pittsburgh is out to play like men of steel, but Houston has found its winning ways. It's a key division showdown next week on ABC's Monday Night Football.
You know, gents, as the Bills take possession, I think one thing we've neglected to mention to this point, Buffalo's played 3 games this year, and in 2 of those games they haven't scored a touchdown, even though their record is 2-1.
5 field goals last week against Houston, and 23-3. They lose to the Jets. And they only beat New England by 3.
Just a field goal so far tonight. They begin this drive with Thomas tackled behind the line of scrimmage for a 2-yard loss.
And I know one thing. I'm not surprised in the effort that we're seeing out of the Denver Broncos tonight. This is a team that very much was up against the wall, not only for themselves, but for their coach. Wade Phillips is getting buried in Denver. He's a popular candidate, a popular choice among the players, as Buffalo runs another one here.
And Beebe makes the catch.
And it's really a case for the Denver players of they're really fighting not just for a successful season, but they're fighting for Wade Phillips. If they were to come in here tonight and roll over and go toes up, Wade Phillips and his perception of being able to lead a group of men would come under serious fire.
3rd down and 2 after the last reception.
It is under serious fire.
Yes, it is, but that fire would have become an inferno if they'd roll over tonight.
And the catch is, yes, it is made. Don Beebe able to make the catch at the 31-yard line. They convert.
Dennis Smith on his first safety blitz did not time it out well, and the completion was there. Beebe reading that blitz. Smith came from deep in the secondary. Beebe pulled up, and Kelly was right there.
From the 31, Thomas picks up 5. Dan mentioning the fact that Wade Phillips has been under so much fire. I mean, we see all of the clips and hear what's going on out there, and some of it is personal and very vicious. I mean, it's one thing to take your football seriously. It's another thing to take it much too seriously.
One of the things that's changed is Charlie Waters is on the bench, and it almost appears as if Wade Phillips is calling the defenses.
Here's Thurman Thomas taking it up to the 43-yard line and close to a first, tackled by Hilliard.
They said they would confer. They're talking, of course, to the press box, but there's Charlie Waters, who came out of the press box. He's on the field, and Wade Phillips is indeed calling the defenses.
All this talk about effort and everything else is wonderful. This team is 0-3. What they need tonight is a full 60 minutes and a W in the W column.
Kelly on first down, and Andre Reed takes it to the Denver 40-yard line.
We talked about Reed and his ability to come across the middle and run with the football once he comes down with it. But this year they're trying to get Reed in, who draws double coverage all the time. They try to move him around a lot more, try and disguise the offensive set. They'll put him on the outside, they'll put him on the inside, weak side, strong side, everywhere.
And this is Kenneth Davis, who is the backup for Thurman Thomas, has been for years, and about as quality a backup as there is in the National Football League. Stopped just about at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
I think 10 years from now, you're going to be able to win a lot of money in a trivia contest by saying to somebody, you know how many catches Andre Reed had in his NFL career?
Yeah.
And somebody will guess, and he'll be about 300 short.
That's right.
And you'll tell them how many he has, and they'll go, no, I don't believe you. This man, receivers in this league like Jerry Rice and Andre Rison get a lot of publicity. This is the quietest future Hall of Famer that you're ever going to find. Look at that. 8 years in a row of 50-plus.
Yeah, he's had a couple of years. He's been over 80. 1 for 88, 1 for 81. Right defensive tackle. 5 yards, 2nd down.
That's about as angry as Wade Phillips gets.
I think his flash point is just about as close to the surface as it gets with Wade Phillips.
Bill, I asked asked him last night in the meeting, do you ever lose your temper? And he said no. He said it's in my genes.
Of course, that family's worn jeans all their life.
2nd and 5. Kenneth Davis is out for a loss at the 36.
Along with boots.
Yes. Son of Bum Phillips.
Yeah, they dropped the son of out in Denver this week.
They have a son of something else out there this week.
Interesting, though. Wade Phillips, of course, was for 4 years the defensive coordinator before he took over from Dan Reeves last year. He is back, it appears, calling the defense.
3rd down and 6, and Kelly guns it over the middle, and it is incomplete, intended for Billy Brooks.
Every time I see Brooks go for the ball, I still think it's James Lofton.
Yes.
I see number 80 in that blue jersey diving for a pass, and I think it's James Lofton.
The Bills, instead of opting for what would be a 53-yard field goal attempt by Christie, will punt instead. Chris Moore will punt, and we've got an injured Denver Broncos. So an injury timeout, 7:29 to go in the half.
In case you didn't know,
2 Bud Dries?
Bud Dry is dry brewed, using less water than light beers. And less water means more beer taste. Besides, who needs more water anyway? Introducing the all-new Chevy Blazer, the only sport utility vehicle with a driver control system. It's nice to know it's here.
What makes the Sharp View Cam so unique?
It's the stuff that dreams are made of.
It's the camcorder that's always moving. It's the view screen that lets you enjoy it all. It's a shot you can't get with just any camcorder. It's the way to play the moment back instantly with all the color and sound. The Sharp View Cam.
Now get up to a $200 rebate on Sharp View Cam, the only camcorders with a choice of big 3- and 4-inch view screens.
Thursday on McKenna, Cassidy goes overboard for a guest, and Brick doesn't like it.
How far are you planning on going with us anyway?
As far as I want to.
McKenna, Thursday on ABC.
There's Dan Williams, the defensive tackle for Denver. Incredibly, another injury. He appeared to bang his left leg, and he hobbled off the field. Things are getting a little thin for Denver here, and we're still in the first half.
They do lead 7-3, and Chris Moore's punt bounces at the 7 and is angled out of bounds at the 8. So he got a nice sideways bounce, and the Broncos will begin from the 8-yard line with 7:21 to play in the first half.
Dan Williams hurt his knee last year. He was their #1 draft choice a year ago, and Denver just is losing players one after the other. Ray Crockett is gone. Russell Freeman is gone. Rod Bernstein is gone. And now Dan Williams is on the sideline. The 4th starter out of the game so far for the Denver Broncos. And there's still 7:21 left in the first half.
Leonard Russell and Derek Clark are the running backs. And this is Russell. He takes it up to the 10-yard line. 2nd and 8. John Elway, Stanford, 12th year in the league. Last year, statistically, the best of Elway's career.
Had an amazing season. 65% completion. A year ago, 62% completion for the season. He had 25 touchdown passes. Fewest interceptions. It was all there, but they were 9 and 7.
Here comes the 12th man.
Yep. In full voice, 2nd and 8. And Russell gets dragged down by his shirt by Bruce Smith up at the 15.
Talking to Bruce Smith before the game, I said, Bruce, how much do you weigh? It's at 267 pounds. In an era where players are getting bigger and bigger, Bruce Smith is getting smaller and smaller, and it's because he wants this. He wants to be able to retain that movement. You are looking at a defensive player at the very peak of his prowess. This man is unstoppable.
3rd and 3. And Russell comes up a little short. Cornelius Bennett right there to make the tackle.
You know, Dan, anyone else other than Bruce Smith at that size, you would be tempted to run right at him as opposed to running away from him because he is so quick. But he can take the defense straight and take the offense straight on.
He's really redefining how to condition himself. You know, Bruce got here as a rookie. He was overweight. He didn't have great cardiovascular endurance. And he is just a wonderful example of someone who has worked his way into the player he is.
Tom Ruin kicking to Jeff Burris. 48-yard punt. Burris, a rookie from Notre Dame. And Burris, one man to beat. He beats him. Touchdown Buffalo. Flag down. 2 flags. One at the 20, one at the 14. One on the near side of the field and one on the far side.
#1 draft pick from Notre Dame. Some fireworks here in Buffalo.
Ineligible receiver down on the kick against the kicking team. A penalty will be declined. Touchdown.
It stands.
2 flags for the same penalty.
That was a fine run, but that was some pretty bad tackling also.
Well, you're right about the bad tackling, Frank, and it's something that plagued Denver last week in their loss to the Raiders. They missed tackles all over the field, and that was pretty sloppy as well, but excellent work by Burris staying on his feet. Look at, there's 1 missed tackle. There's 2 missed tackles. There's 3, although that's the punter. You give him, we'll call it 2.5 missed tackles. And a good upfield run by Burris and well blocked by Buffalo.
There's a holding foul against the return team. There is no touchdown.
Okay, remember I said there were 2 flags. McElwee made only 1 call. There was a flag on the complete opposite side of the field. So Bob had gotten just the 1, and it turns out there are 2 penalties.
They have the kicking team out there.
Oh, boy.
Well, on a long run like that, it took a little while for the official to get down there and connect.
I mentioned earlier there was a flag on the far side of the 15, on the near side of the 21.
On the return team during the return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
The partisan crowd doesn't like that one.
No, you don't need us to tell you that that's not a very popular call here in Buffalo.
He didn't give a number, but we know where the flag was thrown. It might be Monty Brown, number 96. See if we can pick it up.
Is declined by the clean hands rule. The interceptor's penalty is assessed. 10 yards, first down. Who declined it?
He did not give a number at the very beginning of that replay. Up in the corner was Monty Brown. We don't know for sure that it was him. We just know that he was in the vicinity, so we don't want to hang it on him without some sort of an identification by McElwee. And this is a tough sell for Marv Levy. Marv, been known to use salty language on occasion. I think
he has a master's degree in English, doesn't he?
From Harvard, yes. And so I think he'll go deep into that reservoir to come up with something choice for the officials.
Marv swears multisyllabically, trust me.
Don't we all?
Yes.
And sometimes just 1 or 2 syllables. Thurman Thomas out to the 40-yard line, so that negated what would have been a 65-yard touchdown return.
I'm trying to recall the last time I saw the officials get together, signal a touchdown, have the kicking teams out on the field preparing to kick the extra point, and then call it off.
2nd and 2, and Thurman Thomas picks up a couple.
It's a lot easier to do, by the way, when a penalty is against the road team. Well, a great break for the Denver Broncos. They hold on to their 7-3 lead.
They're going to measure here. It'll either be third and a couple of inches or a Buffalo first down with 4:33 to play in the half. Denver leading by 4. First down, Bills.
One of the things that counted on heavily from Dennis Smith, who's seeing only spot duty tonight, is coming up and playing like a linebacker in that nickel defense with the 5 defensive backs. You got to stop this guy on the run.
Kelly airs it out, looks for Beebe. Good defensive work. Randy Hilliard, a man on a spot because Ray Crockett is hurt, so that's why Hilliard's in the lineup, and he's equal to the task here.
Hilliard was looking for a flag. He thought that he had been interfered with by Don Beebe. He might have got a little shove from Beebe. Beebe gave him a little push just as he goes for the ball. Oh, yes, he did. Hilliard wanted the call.
That's still pretty well played by both men. You know what Hilliard did that was really nice? Was that he was looking at the ball, and when it was thrown short, he was able to stop without running into Beebe.
Here's Thomas on 2nd and 10. And Thurman pulls forward up to the 48-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 4. Clock ticking down. 4 minutes to go. First half. The Broncos seeking their first win of the season, leading the Bills 7-3. 3rd down 4. Buffalo from its own 48-yard line. Kelly looking over the middle, and Andre Reed lives in the middle inside the 30. Tackled from behind at the 20-yard line. Brought down by Ronnie Bradford. And a flag is down at the 40.
It was thrown right where the ball was caught. I don't think it could be against Andre Reed.
Pass interference, number 21 defense, penalty is declined, first down.
Hilliard, who made that great play a short while ago against Beebe, is called for pass interference. The play will stand, and again, wonderful concentration on the part of Andre Reed.
And again, poor tackling by the Denver Broncos secondary.
Almost on every play.
Yep. It's going to be a missed tackle. Not only is there interference, but then Hilliard doesn't make the tackle. Atwater goes by. Jones is in a position not to make a tackle.
Thomas on first down. Stop. Loss of 1 at the 21. 2nd and 11. Buffalo.
What a classic catch by Andre Reed. Took that ball right on the chest. He knew he was going to get hit, or thought he was. He should have been, but he wasn't. I think he was surprised that he wasn't unloaded on.
Well, first of all, what a wonderful person Andre Reed is. Just a delight to talk to. Secondly, what a wonderful body he has for playing the game of football at the wide receiver position. He looks like a miniature linebacker. Great musculature.
2nd and 11. Kelly incomplete. He tried to hit Bucky Brooks, the rookie, and Randy Hilliard with a coverage.
Ooh, they are finding Hilliard, and that time Hilliard again in good position.
Bucky has to wear his whole name across the back because they have Bucky and Billy Brooks.
Fine athlete out of North Carolina, 2nd-round draft pick. Sprinter on the track team.
This is the first time he's been active this year. He was inactive the first 3 games, and so he's getting his first taste of regular season NFL action is Mr. Bucky Brooks.
3rd and 11, 2:51 to the half. Denver up 7-3. Kelly over the middle again, and a leaping catch is made at the 10-yard line by Don Beebe. He stretches. He tries to pick up the first down. Atwater comes in and says, don't give him that spot. It's going to be very close.
They're not going to give him that stretch.
And he's going to be a little short of the first.
Kelly wants to go for it.
Now, how often do you see a quarterback who goes to the crowd for help in convincing his coach that he's going to go for it?
I like it.
Rondell Jones makes the stop. They're going for it on 4th and inches, and they've got it. Thurman Thomas. Marker down, flag down at the 8. And it's against Denver, so it will be a first down.
This offside, number 26, defense. 5 yards. First down.
Another offsides by a cornerback. Ben Smith, that's just almost defies the scriptures.
You can only say it's careless.
Yes, I would say it's careless to the nth degree. This is where this offensive scheme of Buffalo's really pays dividends. Denver now is back on their heels.
First and goal. Fake to Thomas. Kelly flips one into the end zone, and Beebe had to turn into a defensive back. Ben Smith with the coverage, and let's see whether it's offensive or defensive here.
That's okay.
Pushing off again.
Smart play by Don Beebe if that's offensive interference. Smart play, because that's an interception all the way. Take the penalty, you keep the football. That ball was going to be intercepted by Ben Smith. Give Don Beebe credit.
Strange pass. R.C. Owens would have had a hard time coming down with this one. Kelly just floated it up there.
Well, Kelly was under all kinds of duress. The safety blitz on the part of the Broncos.
Number 82, offense.
Don Beebe's fighting for position, trying to get in a position to catch the ball, but when it became apparent that Ben Smith had the best shot at it, you go ahead and take that penalty.
And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. The ball is at the 15. It is Denver 7, Buffalo 3.
Oh, it's so cute.
Excuse me. Could you take a picture of us with photo over there?
If you take off to the Italian town of Todi, but your camera just takes off,
Where'd they go?
you better have Visa Gold, because there's not a camera store there that takes American Express.
There's a great shot.
Visa Gold, it's everywhere you want to be.
Team needs new jerseys. Person has to deliver them overnight. Goes to post office. Finds express mail as a smart solution. Guarantees delivery. Jerseys arrive on time. Person avoids getting sacked.
What do you get when you cross a high-quality conventional motor oil with an advanced formula synthetic? A revolutionary oil that protects better than regular oils, yet costs 40% less than full synthetics. Durablend from Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline.
Stallone. You think the killing is going to make everything all right? Stone.
Little Danger never killed anybody.
In the year's most explosive movie.
I'm breathless with anticipation.
The Specialist. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 7th.
Company sells snorkels. Is shocked by high shipping costs. Goes to post office. Finds parcel post as a smart solution. Doesn't cost much. Snorkels get delivered. Company keeps its head above water.
Next week, Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, the site for Monday Night Football. The Oilers broke into the win column yesterday with a win over the Bengals. Houston heads north to face Barry Foster and the Pittsburgh Steelers next Monday night.
Lots of people have been breaking into the win column when they've been playing Cincinnati. Those fellows still struggling. Haven't won one yet. Carl Mecklenburg back in the game. Boy, what a career this guy's had. The Snow Goose. You don't hear anybody call him that too much anymore.
It's kind of caught him that salary cap a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Denver cut him. He demanded a certain amount of money, and he didn't sign until the Friday before the opening game.
First and goal from the 15, and Thurman Thomas scores.
Sloppy tackling rears its ugly head one more time for Denver.
Well, that's one of the better tacklers on the team, too. That's Steve Atwater. Thurman Munson, with the Thurman Thomas, has caused a lot of misses in his career. Just kind of ducked under Steve Atwater. It's a little simple draw play. Let him read it. Gets a good block from Hall. Easy 6.
Glenn Parker led the way with a block, 15-yard TD gallop by Thurman Thomas. Steve Christie for the extra point. And that makes it 10-7. So the Bills are denied. A penalty wipes out the Burris punt return, but they march down the field, are able to withstand an offensive pass interference call, and with 1:54 to go in the half, the Bills are on top by 3.
Boy, good work by Kent Hull, the center. Gets out, comes all the way back around the corner. Glenn Parker, Lucina on the left side. Look at Hull from the center position come all the way out there. There's Parker moving his way upfield. Parker gets a piece of Atwater, aids him in missing that tackle, and Thurman Thomas. We talked about Leonard Russell having 300 carries and being a workhorse last year for New England. Thurman Thomas had 355 carries for Buffalo last year. I think those were the only two running backs in the NFL to have 300 or more carries.
Thurman does it on an annual basis, though. He's had over 1,000 carries in regular season and postseason play over the last 3 years. And oddly enough, he's never had a run over 44 yards.
No. It's one of the things Marv Levy said, I've got to change this year. I can't have Thurman carrying the ball that many times.
Well, Dan, he was a guy that carried the ball, about 1,500 times in college or more.
But if he's not a kid anymore. This is his 7th year, and his carries have been creeping up. The last 4 years, he's gone from 271 to 288 to 312 to 355. And what's his next stop? 400?
Bill's first rushing touchdown of the year. Christie's kick taken at the 5-yard line by Glenn Milburn. Milburn with a flag down at the 19-yard line, returns it out to the 28.
That kind of hurts Denver. Obviously, with John Elway and 1 minute and 46 seconds left, this is a situation that John Elway has covered a lot of real estate in the past.
On the return team.
Reggie Rivers.
10 yards. First down.
Well, here's our college football lineup headed by Michigan against Iowa. Did the Wolverines play on Saturday, Dan?
Right up until the last play.
That was something, wasn't it?
Right up to the last play.
I thought about you, Dan.
Yes.
Got a little chuckle.
I can always count on you guys for moral support.
First down, Denver at the 12. And this is Glenn Milburn taking it out to the 16-yard line. So the Broncos begin as if they'll be content to go in down by 3.
Now they're playing with a short deck, as we have already described. Eric Russell, one of the starting wide receivers, out with a knee, didn't even dress tonight, didn't make the trip. Pritchard in a hospital with a lacerated kidney in Denver. And
they better get some yardage here, though, or Buffalo will probably take a timeout.
They will.
2nd and 6 up at the 16-yard line. This is Milburn. And he's out of bounds up at the 27. Now when you do that, now you can go into your real 2-minute offense. And of course, with somebody like Elway, the 2-minute offense can be accomplished in 30 seconds.
No, this has changed everything now for Jim Fossil and Denver. Now they're going to try to score some points. And of course, they've got a field goal kicker, and Jason Elam, who hasn't missed a field goal either. Until they get to this game tonight, he hasn't missed. He and Christie came into the game perfect. Nice little adjustment on my part. Right?
Yeah, I like it.
In progress. He just barely missed the one time.
From the 27, Bennett can't get to Elway. And then John throws cross grain, and his contact was Sharp running into Henry Jones. Incomplete. No flag.
Sharp looking for the flag. He's not going to get the call, however. Good effort by Elway, throwing back across the body. And again, being pressured early out of the pocket.
I think that was real lucky by Henry Jones. I don't think he knew the ball was in the air. It ended up being timed out perfectly. But there was some good fortune involved there for this former All-America from Illinois.
2nd and 10 from the 28. Low throw and incomplete. Miller couldn't hold on up at the 32 with 54 ticks remaining. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
When you're getting the big bucks, those are the kind of balls that shouldn't be dropped.
You get the big bucks, you attract a lot of coverage, as Miller has been attracting the entire first half with the missing Pritchard and Russell. He is drawing a crowd. This time he is open, just on a little short hook, but Buffalo is protecting from anything deep.
On 3rd and 10. A lot of time, and Elway converts, and the catch is made by Anthony Miller, and that's a first down up at the 45. He stayed in bounds, and so the Broncos will take a timeout. 19-yard pickup. 42 seconds left in the half. And that's actually Cedric Tillman making the catch. Tillman, number 87, his first catch of the game.
Tillman again, of course, in the lineup because of Russell and Pritchard. The injuries we've already described. Well, 11th round draft pick a couple of years ago and getting an opportunity to play.
Still 2 timeouts remaining for the Denver Broncos. 42 seconds. Plenty of time for them to get something done. It's still number 7 at quarterback. Good look at Jason Elam, and this guy still has some magic left in him.
And we were looking at those numbers Steve Hurt put together on his game-saving drives at the end of the game. We didn't document the scoring drives at the end of a half. But there have been a lot of them.
You're right about that, Frank.
First down, Denver at the 46-yard line, holding hands up front. Elway throws, catch is not made, incomplete at the 50, marker down, flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Pass intended for Miller, incomplete, flag on the play.
Anthony Miller, the intended receiver.
Well, the officials are ruling he didn't control it. Procedure against Denver. And for Anthony Miller, it's just as well that he didn't control it, because that would have been a fumble and a Buffalo touchdown.
McElwee will discuss the options here. Do you want a 2nd and 10 or 1st and 15? You know, it's a wild thing. Here we are at the end of the 4th week of the season as McElwee discusses whether Talley wants a 2nd and 10 or 1st and 15. Last year,
illegal formation, number 65
at this point in the
was
season,
not on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards, first down.
Zimmerman, the penalized Bronco. Last year, 18 field goals were kicked in 30 attempts from 50 yards and beyond through the first 4 weeks. This year, not 1 out of 16 attempts.
If you look on the right, we expected the drop off from 30 to 16 because of the new rule of where they spot the ball, but that none have been made.
Crazy.
Look out.
Elway flag down. Elway gets sacked. Bruce Smith, ball loose.
And that's a live football.
Then it has it.
And that's within field goal range also.
And it looks like Zimmerman's going to maybe get a holding call here. There are 2 flags now.
Number 65, offense. That penalty is declined. First down.
And there's another flag down here.
We talked about Bruce Smith, and who doesn't talk about this guy? He comes around the corner, comes in the backside. He's going to go upfield on Zimmerman. He gets around the corner. Zimmerman there is called for the hold, but look at Bruce Smith, even on a wet field, able to come in at that kind of an angle with that much body lean and not lose his balance and go to the ground. Guys, I'm telling you, that's extraordinary work by Bruce Smith.
Meanwhile, we never got a call on that 2nd flag. I have to assume it's against the Broncos.
We'll get it in a minute here.
Yeah, right. Last time that happened, it negated a touchdown. 26 seconds remaining. Draw. Thomas. Inside the 20 goes Thurman.
Oh, great
inside the 10. Touchdown, Thurman Thomas.
Every Denver Bronco thought he was going to step out of bounds. Thurman Thomas gave every appearance of running it out of bounds, and then he just went back upfield. Oh, boy, that's beautiful.
Got a good block, broke back inside of it.
Bruce Smith, that touchdown's for you, baby.
Oh, and he knows it, too. Just a simple draw play. 25 seconds left in the half. He turns it into a touchdown run. Good block right there. Not sure who that was, but it sprung Thomas for the 6.
27-yard touchdown run. Christie converts. Thurman Thomas had gone 9 regular season games in succession going back to last year without a rush or a catch of 20 yards or more, the longest such drought of his career, and he breaks that here.
Well, 90 yards in the first half for a 6-yard average is pretty solid. Bruce Smith tough to do a whole lot more than what he's doing.
Let's take a look again. Maybe we can pick up who made that block downfield.
Right here, it looks like Thermos is going out of bounds, and then look at that cut back to the inside.
That was Don Beebe that threw that block.
Billy Brooks is downfield.
And we talked about in the past how all these wide receivers for the Buffalo Bills, they love to hit people downfield. Andre Reed, Peavy, they'll put a hit on you.
I think Thurman Thomas might be saying to us up here in the booth a little bit, you had Barry and Emmett on last week. You know, they're not the only two running backs in the National Football League. You're right. The Thurminator is one of them as well.
"18 seconds remaining, so the end of the half has turned out to be a Bronco disaster. 17-7. Buffalo now up by 10. And Christie to kick off. Glenn Milburn, Jeff Campbell are back to receive.
And the Buffalo herd is approaching.
A little rounder. And all they can do is just fall on it at the 28-yard line. Derek Clark and some linemen are there.
Well, that's the purpose of that kick. You want it to come up short of the return man and make the big blockers handle it.
Coming up at the half, Brent Musburger, Peter King in New York, Phil Simms. Let's find out about Phil and that offer from Arizona. And then we'll talk with John Elway, a conversation we had last night, and he discusses, among other things, the perspective of his relationship with Dan Reeves after it's been a year and a half since Reeves last coached the Broncos, almost 2 full years, and Dan, of course, doing a fabulous job with the unbeaten Giants. A kneel down will end the first half.
I was going to say, I hope he's admiring what he's doing.
Yes, he is. End of the half. Buffalo on top by a score of 17-7. And back we come with our halftime activities after this word from our ABC station.
You thought the Cold War was over, but has anybody told these guys?
This is an agency that's literally beyond public control.
They're spending billions on spy satellites and espionage, but who's watching them? Prime time is. Plus, he knows his way around a hardware store. But what about romance? Home Improvements, Kim Allen. Prime time Thursday.
My name is Michael Collins. I was on welfare for 3 years.
Michael impressed me as far as he seemed to be willing to put in an honest day's work for me.
You got to do the work to get what you want. This is what it got me. It got me, 30 hours a week, and and I like what I'm doing. I think Governor Wells doing the right thing by putting this program together.
An inspired artist must add layer upon layer to create a true Italian masterpiece, covering a canvas edge to edge with the finest materials.
Like pepperoni. It's the Pepperoni Primo at Papa Gino's.
Loaded edge to edge with pepperoni and 50% more mozzarella, white cheddar, and Pecorino Romano cheeses. Order one today for just $9.99 and get up to 5 more pizzas for $3.99 each. Pepperoni Primo at Papa Gino's. Italian masterpieces.
News Center 5 reports live from the O.J. Simpson trial all this week.
The Toyota Halftime Report, brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. From our studios in New York, your host, Brent Musburger.
Wasn't Dan Deerdorf right on the money? Thurman Thomas, like you and everybody else, watched last Monday night. He said, don't forget about me. I'm a pretty good running back. Joining us again, Peter King of Sports Illustrated. Peter, it was a scary Sunday for a couple of quarterbacks.
Well, yesterday, Boomer Esiason last night against the Bears suffered a severely sprained left ankle. I was on the phone with Boomer tonight. Boomer says, we're watching TV. Boomer says, hey, I'm not out 5 weeks. They're saying he's out 5 weeks. I might play next week. So I think he's going to be back at the latest next week.
Stan Humphries of the Chargers.
Yeah, Stan Humphries with a badly sprained left knee. He's fine now, but led him back to victory. Bobby Beathard is watching this play. The general manager of the Chargers, he says, oh, no, he's out for the year. Luckily, he's not for them.
Tough guy. Another quarterback who was a tough guy, very much in the news today. Phil Simms, earlier on ESPN, he revealed that he will not sign that one-year contract offer from the Phoenix Cardinals. Wasn't that an interesting offer? few weeks ago, wasn't it Buddy Ryan who said the Giants are better without Phil Simms? This kid, Dave Brown, is really pretty good. It's amazing what happens when you're winless. You come and you seek out Phil Simms. And a short time ago, we had a chance to ask him, Phil, how come you didn't sign with the Cardinals?
Well, I think the circumstances involved. You know, I wanted to go into a situation where I had a chance to go ahead and be the quarterback and stay the quarterback. I didn't want to get into a situation where they could pull me out if things didn't go well right away, and it just didn't work out. I thank the Cardinals for giving me the opportunity, but the situation just wasn't right.
Phil, a lot of folks were surprised when Buddy Ryan came after you. They thought that he had demeaned you a few weeks back. Were you surprised? And what's your feeling now about Buddy?
Well, of course, my feeling has changed. Since he decided he wanted me to come out there and play for him, I think he's a hell of a guy. So it has changed. But, you know, the statements he made a couple weeks ago, that didn't bother me at all. And I've heard Buddy make a lot of statements through the year. And when I found out they wanted me to come out there and play, I just thought it was great. I thought it was perfect. After the things he said about me, now he wanted me to come out there and play. I just thought it was going to be fun. And honestly, I was looking forward to the opportunity of going out there and see what was going to happen, to see if I could fit into that scheme and help them out. But that wasn't the case. And honestly, my opinion of Buddy has changed now.
Now, Phil, if another team comes to you and says they'll give you a longer-term contract, give you a chance to play, would you then sign?
Well, first off, I don't think they'll come, and even if they do, I will not sign. I made a commitment. I made a commitment to myself and to my family that I would wait a decision with the Cardinals. I would have gone there, but there's no other team right now that I would go and play for, and I'm going to stay here and work at ESPN.
Phil, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Brent.
Phil, they're coming. They're going to come after him. Peter, we could have a shortage. We've got 2 expansion teams next year. Where are the quarterbacks coming from?
Excellent question, Brent, because in the 90s so far, there's only been 2 first-round quarterbacks drafted each year. There could be help on the way this year, led by Steve McNair, the kid from Alcorn State, because the NFL scouts I talked to say that McNair is one of 3 or 4, possibly 5 guys who could be picked in the first round next year when there are 30 picks because of the new expansion teams. Now, John Walsh is the key guy here, the kid from Brigham Young. If he comes out, he makes this a much richer quarterback crop.
All right, Cordell Stewart didn't hurt his chances, did he, on Saturday with Colorado? Well, back in '83, 6 quarterbacks drafted the first round. John Elway's one of them. Back with him and Al in a moment.
When Automobile Magazine described Paseo's enduring reliability, they may have overlooked a few things. On warm days, it runs a little hot. It can be noisy at high speeds. And sometimes, it's hard to get out of first gear. Other than that, Paseo is a very practical car from Toyota.
Tomorrow, a special night for Coach.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that incredible?
Hayden must make a big decision with his wife.
I wanted to discuss it with you first. Oh. Now that we discussed it, I'm going to call.
That he's in ice water and she's a hot new partner.
I'm incredibly attracted to Ellie.
I would be, too, if I weren't frozen from the waist down.
Coach in Blue Skies after an all-new Grace Under Fire tomorrow on ABC.
It's 2 of America's favorite comedies. First, Tim Kotal's Jill's Car.
I didn't get to see your location tool time, though. How'd it go?
Great, tremendous.
Smashing.
An all-new episode of Home Improvement. Then, sexual harassment in the workplace.
Just like the name calling. Vic called me Muffin Bud. That used to be my nickname from him.
Grace Under Fire, Tuesday on ABC.
It's really hard to believe, Al Michaels, that John Elway would ever be 0-4 in any league, huh?
It's hard to believe, Brett. They're down by 10 now at the half. They began the season with those 2 wrenching losses and then the embarrassing, humiliating defeat they suffered to the Raiders last week. John, now age 34, has become quite reflective. I spoke with Elway last night.
In your 12th season now, John, you've walked off the field at Mile High Stadium under any number of circumstances. But can you compare what took place last Sunday when you walked off to anything you've experienced before?
No, I can't. I've heard of stories of people walking off fields in their home fields and just getting screamed at and booed and those type of things, to where it was kind of hard for me to understand. But last week against the Raiders, we got a taste of what it's like to do that at home. It was something I never thought Mile High would get like, but it got pretty nasty.
It had to be the all-time professional low point for your coach, Wade Phillips. A loss like that. His father-in-law had died on Friday. He had to go to the funeral after the game. What's it been like for Wade all week?
Well, I think it's been the toughest for him out of anybody. I think if you look at the personal things that happened to him, as well as the way that we went out and played last week, that it was almost as fast as a world can crumble, it almost crumbled around Wade last week. And I think that, you know, Wade has come through with flying colors. He's a guy that is going to be the leader for us and a guy that we look to for strength. And you know, he's the one that's taking all the bullets right now. So I'm his biggest supporter, and I'm right there with him. And I believe that, you know, sooner or later, some of these things are going to start going our way.
When Dan Reeves was fired, the magazines had a field day. A lot of articles made it out to be a situation where you two guys hated each other, when in fact you had worked together for a number of seasons and had had a lot of success. From the perspective now of almost 2 years apart from Dan, how will you look back upon your relationship and your years with Reeves?
I still respect Dan Reeves as much as I ever have as a football coach, and you know, personally, I still like him. It's not like there were some differences there that, you know, that people blamed that him leaving was my fault, and it really wasn't the differences that we had. It was the differences he had with the organization, Mr. Ballin and John Beek and those type people. So, but when I look back on that, I mean, it's going to be, I'm going to be felt lucky to have played for Dan Reeves because the guy is a winner, knows how to win, and, you know, was able to go to 3 Super Bowls. Even though we didn't win any of them, we still had a chance to play for the World Championship.
How important will it be for you to finish your career as a Denver Bronco?
Oh, I'm not planning on going anywhere else, and I think that you know, it's very important for me to finish there. It's where I make my home, and I love it there, and you know, the fans have been great to me there. So I mean, I really don't have any plans of going anywhere else unless Mr. Ballin gets fed up with me and wants to send me somewhere else, and I'd have to look at it then. But it's awful important for me to be a Bronco for the whole part of my career.
You know, this is not an alibi, but the Broncos have been suffering a lot of key injuries. Keep that in mind as the second half unfolds right here on ABC.
This is a line. To some, it is seen as a barrier. To others, it's a point where traditions of the past are abandoned in favor of visions of the future. Introducing the revolutionary new Toyota Supra. It's taken everything sports cars were before and crossed the line.
The Toyota Halftime Report has been brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. We'll be back with the second half kickoff after this from our ABC stations.
Wednesday's a great night of comedy. We're having a baby. This is great news.
I'm so glad that I'm having your kid, not one of them other guys I'm sleeping with.
It's an all-new Roseanne. Then, Ellen's working for charity.
We're going to have to let you go.
You're firing me?
It's an all-new Ellen.
But I'm a volunteer.
After an all-new Roseanne. Wednesday on ABC.
Tonight on New England's News Center 5.
The first day of the O.J. Simpson trial is over. 218 potential jurors filed through the doors of the L.A. County Courthouse. About half made the first cut. News Center 5's Amalia Beretta is in L.A. and has some interesting information on O.J.'s behavior in court today. Also tonight, a community crackdown in Lowell. It's the first week of the city's curfew designed to get children under 16 off the streets. And something's brewing in Washington. If you remember Billy Bear, get ready for a Billary beer. Well, wait a minute. It was Billy Beer, and we're getting ready for Billary beer. And in sports, you know about all that, right?
I know about all that stuff. It makes sense to me. I tell you what, there's a 24-year-old young man from Medfield who found out tonight that he is going to be fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world. And this kid is on cloud 9. He is sky high.
He should be.
Yeah, we're going to hear from him after the game, plus our weekly high school top 20.
All righty. We hope you'll join us for all the news, sports, and weather right after the football game.
From across the seas, Beck's delivers the grand tradition and taste of the German art of brewing. Beck's, the #1 imported German beer.
It was forged from a commitment to strength, protection, and to your peace of mind. It is Titan from Kwikset. Titan door locks. Unbeatable strength, unbeatable security.
My mom says a couple of ounces of antifreeze can kill our dog. Even 2 tablespoons can be bad for me. So we use an antifreeze that's safer for kids and pets. That's less harmful. My dad says any antifreeze can protect against freezing and rust. But is it less harmful for me and JoJo? That's what my dad cares about. What about yours?
Sierra, it's not just antifreeze, it's safety freeze.
Leaf peeping in Vermont by rail Thursday at 5:30.
John Elway and the Denver Broncos facing a 10-point deficit. 0-3 coming in. And, of course, they are playing in a division where the leader is already 4-0, the San Diego Chargers.
Well, they've lost some people tonight. Russell Freeman over at right tackle is gone. Ray Crockett is gone. We haven't heard yet about Dan Williams.
Rod Bernstein is gone again.
Derek Russell didn't get here, and of course Mike Pritchard is in the hospital in Denver.
Outside of that, they're in great shape. Christie's check is fielded at the 9-yard line by Glenn Milburn, and a nice run back all the way out to the 38-yard line. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old and get into the cold. Aptiva. It's whatever you want, however, whenever, whyever you want. It's the newest multimedia PC from IBM. And Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement.
Well, like there wasn't enough pressure on this Denver Bronco offense before now, trailing by 10. They can't afford mistakes, and they have got to do something.
On first down, Elway has it deflected, and the crowd saluting Bruce Smith. Speaking of Bruce Smith, let's get an update from Lynn Swan. Swanee?
Well, Al, at halftime, Wade Phillips was as upset as he can get. He actually raised his voice. He ran to the center of the field talking to the umpire. He's complaining that Bruce Smith is lining up every play offside. As a matter of fact, he felt he was offside when he got the sack that caused a fumble that led to the Buffalo touchdown. So he's yelling at the officials. He wants them to correct it. We'll see if they do.
Well, he's certainly not offside there.
Second and 10. Elway guns one, and it is intercepted. It is picked off by Mickey Washington. He's inside the 40, picking up blocks. Inside the 30, tackled at the 25-yard line.
And Washington, the short man on his own. Elway tried to gun it between the deep man and the short man, and Washington with a fine interception.
We were one tackle away from John having his 4th interception run back for a touchdown in 4 games.
Washington with the chuck there. Now he'll play the short zone, getting help deep, steps in front of it. And as you said, Dan, this was just a little break to the outside, but he gets a little block right there. Out in front of him,
he just
is
fell
Thomas
over.
Smith, and he just fell right over Smith's block.
If he doesn't fall down right there, that's a touchdown for Buffalo.
It's Thurman Thomas, whose last 2 runs have been touchdown gallops, picking up 3, taking it to the 22.
And I can hear the hue and cry from Denver, Colorado, all the way here in New York State.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Dan.
Yeah. Great ears.
What are they saying?
We cannot mention it.
They're hewing and crying. Second and 7, and it is dropped by Pete Metzelar. Third down.
Metzelar is playing on a couple of wounded ankles. One of the fine tight ends, big tight end, of course. If you followed Buffalo Bills, you know he's up there around 6'7". Had a big year a year ago with the 68 receptions, but has been hobbled a little bit here in the early going this season.
Looks like he had a couple sprained hands on that attempted reception.
Third and 7 at the 22. And movement up front. Flag down. Tipped and caught by Brooks. Run out of bounds by Atwater.
I don't think those flags are down on Kelly's hard count.
Ted Washington came across the line. Was he induced? Nope.
Almost looked like there was contact before the play, which would have been a break for Denver. If there would have been contact, that means the play wouldn't have happened, and it would have just been a 5-yard penalty.
Offside. Offside. Right tackle. Penalty is declined. First down.
Pretty marvelous concentration by Brooks. The ball was really thrown behind him. Bradford got a hand on it as well. But Brooks stayed with it, kept his feet, made the catch.
Buffalo at the 12. Early third quarter. Bills leading 17-7. Thomas, he's already scored twice. Takes it to the 2.5.
Boy, on top of Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith last week, you're watching another great one in Thurman Thomas, and he is hurt. Ooh, and Thurman, he's grabbing that right knee. Well, he did initially.
And this huge throng goes almost stone silent.
Let's take a look at the end of the run. Thurman Thomas. Can't see what happened there. Injury timeout.
It's twilight. Sunroof's open. We're cruising down the coast highway in my new Bonneville. Yeah, I'm in an evening dress. He looks great. Soft music on the CD. He leans over and says, "This is nice. Dual airbags, traction control, over 200 horsepower. He even knew it was almost 15 grand less than a BMW or Lexus. So it was love at first sight. You could say that."
Oh, you got it! Hey, Dad! Whoa!
On September 30th,
Hey there! We've been waiting for you.
the vacation is over.
I need your wife to get me down the river.
And 200 miles of raging, roaring, thundering adventure begins.
I cannot roll this big water. I cannot do it.
The River Wild, rated PG-13, starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft.
After midnight, we're gonna check
The cold one. So get out of the old and get into the cold.
Collective sigh of relief here at Rich Stadium as Thurman Thomas is up on his feet. He had the entire medical staff out there and about 80,000 people on their feet. He's not the franchise, but he's a big part of it. We looked at it about 19 different ways during that commercial break and really couldn't find anything definitive to see at the precise point where he damaged his leg, and that is great news for the Buffalo Bills fans. Thurman Thomas.
Kenneth Davis comes in to spell him, and then Davis lines up on a wing. 2nd and 1 from the 3, and they give it to Carwell Gardner for the touchdown.
Well, that's his first touchdown of the year, and he doesn't get that many of them. Boy, if that's the short yardage defense, they better rework that. Well, nobody touched it. A huge offensive line for Buffalo, an undersized defensive front for the Broncos, and they are blown away here. Pete Metzelaars comes in on the trap block, and Carwell Gardner isn't touched until he's several yards into the end zone.
Gardner's first touchdown since 1992, and the 7th in his 5-year career, and Christie's point after is good, just inside the left upright. And the Bills have extended their lead to 17.
Coach Reeves sends in the play. Marino flips it to the half.
Dream big enough.
He follows Barry Sanders into the hole.
Practice long enough.
Blows past Richard dead.
Hope hard enough.
Pulls over Junior Stay-Out.
And maybe one day you can play with the NFL's best. Or just bet those guys they can't eat one Lay's potato chip and make them play with you.
Okay, ready to play?
What are they doing here? They couldn't eat just one.
Marino flips it.
Lay's, bet you can't eat just one.
We now return to John Elway with the answer to Lay's Bet You Can't Name the Game.
Even my agent Maury knows that Dan Marino holds a record for most completions in the season. I'd bet my starting position on it.
No way. Actually, Warren Moon set the record when he connected on 404 passes during the 1991 season.
Warren Moon?
Join us again next time for Bet You Can't Name the Game.
Maury, I want to renegotiate my contract.
Maury?
Looking good. Facing with your car is a great idea.
Yeah, especially when it's my new Grand Am.
Well, you couldn't take my car. Doesn't have analog brakes or an airbag.
Or 150 horsepower. Your car couldn't keep up with me.
Man, this engine is really smooth.
What?
I said you're really starting to move.
Hey, where are you?
Rushes, blitzes, sacks, shotguns, rollouts, bombs. The NFL, no. NYPD Blue. The new season begins October 11th. Viewer discretion advised.
Jerry Crafts, the huge Buffalo tackle.
Listed at 6'6", 351. And Thurman Thomas up walking around, and you have to wonder with a 24-7 lead whether he'll be back in the game or not.
Christie to kick off. Ball taken at the 5-yard line by Glenn Milburn. And he breaks it all the way out to the 44-yard line. And then the ball apparently comes loose. But the Broncos still have it. Harwell Gardner, who scored the touchdown, makes the tackle. Thurman Thomas, a triple-figure night on the ground for him.
And he had some knee surgery when he was a sophomore, I believe it was, in Oklahoma State. And he came back the following year and ran for, what, 1,500 yards?
That surgery was so severe, that's the reason he was picked in the second round and not in the first. People wondered if he'd be able to hold up.
He doesn't wear a brace on it. Well, I don't think, maybe he does have a brace on it now.
But those guys are out for the game. Bernstein, Freeman, Crockett, and Williams. And again, they came here without Russell and Pritchard, two outstanding receivers. Elway throws. It's a low throw. It's incomplete. Reggie Rivers, the intended receiver. 2nd and 10.
That was the type of throw that John uncorked a few times last week. Really a relatively easy pass to complete. And when you throw the ball low into the ground like that, that's just a case of overthrowing it. Really not much of a chance there for Rivers to do much with it.
2nd and 10 at the 43. 12:59 left in the third quarter. 24-7 Buffalo. Just a 3-man rush, but that's enough to get Elway flush. And then he flips it to Russell. And Russell is out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Should be enough for a first down. Lodish is shaken up on the play.
Yeah, Mike Lodish is the Buffalo Bill that hit John Elway just as he was throwing the ball.
They can ill afford to lose a Lodish. Jeff Wright, their regular nose tackle they thought would be back for the beginning of the season after shoulder surgery. He has still not come back.
There he comes off the block. He's on Elway from behind. Boy, it's hard to see what happened there. But he's definitely in pain. And you're right, these guys are awful thin at nose tackle.
So thin, in fact, Ed Fillion, a rookie from Ferris State, number 71, is the guy on the nose right now.
A free agent rookie.
Elway swings this one out, and that's off the fingertips of Leonard Russell. 2nd and 10.
Even that one would have been very difficult to catch. John had a lot on that out in front of him. Just not used to seeing this by John Elway.
That ball just a half a foot or so out in front of Leonard Russell, and it was fast. He would have had to leave his feet to make the catch.
On 2nd and 10, a little flip to Russell, and he takes it to the 39-yard line. He's tackled there by Darryl Talley.
Kind of a modified shovel pass.
Yes. Made famous by a one-time number 1
What was the name of that guy? What was that? From the Palouse?
Former, Lee Grosscup, teammate of Frank Giffords in the
number 1 draft pick.
Yep.
The Cupper. King of P.J. Clark's.
Yes, one-time king. 3rd down and 3 at the 39. Elway throws, and the catch is made by Sharp. and he takes it to the 14, and this is exactly what the Broncos needed. Darby and Jones make the tackle, 25-yard pickup as Denver tries to scramble back into the game.
And Elway comes back off those 2 passes he dumped off into the flat, throws an absolute strike to Sharp over the middle. Good coverage of his Henry Jones with good position on Sharp, and Elway was right there.
What a good release by Shannon Sharp with that right arm over the top.
Coming out of it.
Yeah, it's that swim move that you see defensive ends use a lot of times against an offensive tackle.
1st and 10 at the Buffalo 14-yard line. And that flip again to Russell. Breaks a tackle at the line of scrimmage. Breaks another one. And he's out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Great stiff arm. Thomas Smith got stiff arm. He runs him out. And Henry Jones was the guy who took that stiff arm.
I guess he did.
Take a look at it again. Just a little flip underneath. It worked a moment ago. Let's come back with it. Actually, pretty good pursuit on the part of the Bills. Good stiff arm there. Here comes Jones. Good tackle. Number 28, Thomas Smith.
2nd and 4 from the 8. And taking it down to the 5-yard line is Leonard Russell. That's going to set up a 3rd down and 1.
If Denver can just get into the end zone here and make it a 10-point ball game, they are in a position to at least remain in the game. Thurman Thomas, we don't know how effective he'll be if he even comes back into the ball game for Buffalo.
Well, earlier on the same situation, in the 3rd down, they looked to Anthony Miller and got the 6.
3rd and 1 from the 5. Russell bangs his way, maybe enough. It depends on the spot, obviously. Darby and Barnett makes the tackle, and let's see where they'll put it down.
Well, if he doesn't get it, this is an interesting call for Wade Phillips.
Got a pretty good mark out of it.
Oh, boy. With the naked eye, I don't think he has it.
Have you ever had a dress dye? That's one of those expressions that I've never quite understood. Well, it's short by any examination. Wade Phillips is 2 touchdowns and a field goal behind.
Report on Thomas, by the way, took a helmet to the knee. He's going to sit out the 3rd quarter, at least, they tell us, and we'll see about the 4th.
Well, that is good news.
4th
Denver's going for it.
And inches. Kirk Scrafford, number 76, is in the game as an eligible receiver. Rivers in motion, all kinds of action on the right side. The ball is loose, flags all over the joint.
Well, it was a long count, a hard count by Elway trying to draw the Bills offside, and Rivers might have been in motion on it.
Oh, they're going to call it against Buffalo.
Well, you know what? This is a new rule this year.
Neutral zone infraction, left defensive end.
This is
half the distance. First down.
Don Maggs, who is lined up at tight end for Denver, flinched and moved, but it was after a Buffalo Bill was in the neutral zone, and this is a new rule this year. Always in the past, this would have been a penalty against Denver. Now, if you're in the neutral zone, watch this and pay attention to the far side. There's Buffalo into the neutral zone. There's the movement by Denver. In 93 and prior, that's against Buffalo. In 94 and from now on, I mean, that's a penalty against Buffalo where it would have been an offensive infraction in the past.
Elway had to reset the rookie Clark, who then leads the way for Russell. Touchdown. And the Broncos love the new rules.
Yes, they do.
Well, that drive was a little bit of a litmus test for Denver, not only in this game, but for this whole season. Down by 17, if they had gone into the tank again and suffered another humiliating defeat, who knows what would have happened.
They got it in there, but it was not one of their pretty drives, you'll see.
But a very effective drive.
They are not out of the woods yet, but they are back in the ballgame.
Elway had to realign his backfield. Come on, Derek, over here.
It's the rookie Clark. He had to reset. Elam now for the point after.
And what John Elway just did there, resetting that guy on the road down in the end of the stadium where the noise is very intense. Not easily done. Not easily done. You can't hear yourself think down at that end of the field. Excellent composure on the part of the Denver Broncos. They're back within 10 and back in the ballgame.
This summer, we invited everyone who owns a Saturn to visit Spring Hill, a Saturn homecoming. They could see where their cars were built and meet the people who built them. We could thank them for believing in us. 44,000 people spent their vacations with us at a car plant. Of course, not everything went exactly as planned, but we were all in it together, the way we always have been.
In a world of violence,
What's up, criminal?
in a battle of brothers,
Did you learn nothing in prison? That's what I learned.
Jason knows there's a price
For me, you could be making 3 G's in one night.
for every dream.
You think you man enough to rob a bank?
Alan Payne, Jada Pinkett, Bokeem Woodbine, Tretch, and Eddie Griffin. Jason's Lyric, rated R. Starts Wednesday at select theaters.
At the end of the day, more top mechanics in America choose One Motor Oil over any other brand to help keep their own cars running longer. Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline.
My dandruff itches. I'll try anything. Denorex feels tingly, not the Head and Shoulders.
Both have effective dandruff medicine, but Denorex has something extra that tingles, feels fresh.
That's why I started using Denorex. No flakes, no itch.
Denorex, the serious dandruff shampoo.
The Michigan Wolverines invade Iowa. Colorado tackles Texas. Or regional action from the Pac-10 Big East and ACC. Saturday on ABC's College Football.
Well, the Broncos are back in the game, down by 10, and it's raining again, and fairly hard. And Thurman Thomas, with that knee wrapped, all of a sudden Denver scrambles back into it. Thomas appears to be done for the evening.
That's not the look of a guy who might be back for the fourth quarter.
Thomas tonight 103 yards. Kick is taken by Bucky Brooks at the 3. And flag is down. He returns it to the 25-yard line.
Well, even though Denver got back within 10, we're still, if you're a Denver Bronco fan,
Offside on the kickoff.
faced with the problem that you really haven't been effective in stopping the Buffalo offense tonight. Now, we'll see what the absence of Thurman Thomas has to do here, but Denver has
Offside,
not been really tough in
number
stopping
80
them.
On the kicking team, re-kick and the 5-yard penalty.
Tony Kimbrough was offside, so they'll make him kick it again from the 25-yard line. Leonard Russell caps a 57-yard drive, and it was a nice run back by Glenn Milburn that put him into good position. And then Elway makes it pay off.
The big play of that drive was a nice throw by John Elway across the middle to Shannon Sharp. And it is coming down again
Both
at
these
a
teams
pretty
have-
good pace.
Both these teams have given up a lot of yards in their first 3 games. Buffalo has given up an average of over 350 yards total offense, while Denver was up over 385 yards. The difference was that Denver had given up 110 points, and Buffalo had only given up 65.
Last 3 possessions, Buffalo's had the ball, well, over a 3-minute and 36-second span. 3 touchdowns. Now from the 25-yard line, Elam's kick is taken at the 9-yard line by Don Beebe. And Beebe taken down at the 24.
That backfired. Buffalo was up at the 28 before, weren't they?
Yeah, they figured they would gain some advantage by accepting the penalty. They did not.
Well, strong kick by Elam to get it all the way down to the 9-yard line from back at his own 25.
Yeah, and he had a little height on it also. Got good coverage underneath it.
He kicked it about as far as that Colorado quarterback threw it.
Oh, did Michigan play this weekend?
Yes, sir. I told you right up to the end.
From the 25-yard line, Kenneth Davis picks up about 4. So the understudy for Thurman Thomas is written down by Steve Atwater.
Might be the best understudy around, too, Ken Davis. He's been around for a lot of years behind Thurman Thomas, and every time he's been called on to perform, he has performed in great fashion. Has tremendous speed, has a couple of long touchdown runs.
2nd and 6, and Kelly throws too high, intended for Reed. He's covered by Randy Hilliard. Jim angry with himself. 3rd down.
We talked earlier about the last 3 years. Thurman Thomas's longest run was 44 yards. Ken Davis, over his period of time backing up Thurman Thomas, has touchdown runs of 1 of 78 and 1 of 64. He can motor.
One of the great strengths of the Bills has been their depth, not only at that position, but at several others. And here's Davis. And he gets taken down at the 30, and Ben Smith comes up to stop him. So the Denver defense, on a series in which it was real important to step up and stop the Bills, have done just that.
And an excellent example there of how this hurry-up offense of Buffalo's works against you if you don't get the first down. Right away, their defense is going to be back out on the field with barely any time burned off the clock whatsoever.
Chris Moore to kick, Lynn Milburn back to receive it.
And you know, on a slippery field like this, the advantage goes to the return man.
The kick, a short one, 33 yards, and fair caught by Milburn at the 37-yard line. We have 7:58 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's 24-14 Buffalo.
Football. Golf. Now, football.
Let's watch both.
Miller Lite presents Full Contact Golf.
Yeah!
We're still on the first hole, Bob, and this is Davis teeing it up. Here's the drive. It is blocked. Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste with less filling, you can combine anything. Oh, he's got daylight going for the green. Here's the putt. There's the blitz. It's good. Yeah! Oh, good beer. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this?
Fact is, the world isn't built for short people. I consider myself an expert on this. It's a perspective that's helped all of us at Saturn in considering how safety features designed for the average man of 5'8" were affecting those of us who aren't. It led us to test dummies of various sizes and to design our airbag system for humans of various sizes. Anyway, from down here, it seems like everyone needs looking out for.
Mrs. Humpty.
What is it, Earl?
Well, it's about Humpty.
Yeah?
Ned and I have been thinking this through for a while, and it don't add up. Humpty was a pro. He'd never just lose his balance. We think Humpty was... pushed.
Oh, no!
My Next. More information, more solutions, more stuff.
Saturday on the Commish. Is Tony's new recruit a good cop
How'd you like to help us nail Victor Kasabian? There's nothing I want more.
or a bad cop? The Commish, Saturday here on ABC.
Raining in Orchard Park, New York, where the Denver Broncos have gotten back into the game. They're down by 10. They stop the Bills. 3 and out go the Bills, and now the Broncos in Elway. 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line. And they set up the screen to Leonard Russell, who breaks the tackle, and Russell takes it out to midfield, and that's a 1st down. Mike Lodish, back in the game, makes the tackle. 13-yard pickup.
Good call by Denver and a well-executed screen. Got the lineman out front, a couple of good blocks, and
Russell did break a tackle,
rather routine looking 1st down for Denver, and they're in Buffalo territory.
Maddox has sliced right into that screen, and Russell literally ran through it.
And you're sensing a little uneasiness in the crowd here at Orchard Park.
7:15 to go in the 3rd quarter. With protection, it's tipped and it's incomplete. Somebody got a hand on it. 2nd down.
Well, that was good work by Zimmerman that time on Bruce Smith. Bruce tried to take him to the inside, and Zimmerman jammed him in there good. This is a game of give and take when you got
I think it's
two all-pros like this.
Yeah, I thought it might have been tipped, but the way the ball came out, it could have been just the wet football.
If you were with us in the 1st half, you saw a couple of these get away from John. Yep. I think it was a wet ball
on a flyer. Yep. And having a problem with it, and it's still raining, and this is Russell going nowhere.
Late flag.
Smith trips him up. Marker down. Holding against the Broncos. So that will give Buffalo the option of 3rd and 10 or 2nd and 20. Brian Habib tried to tackle Bruce Smith.
And I think he did.
Illegal block in the back. Offense. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
As an offensive lineman, you're allowed to hit a defensive player in the back as long as you're between the tackles, as long as you're there in the pit. Number 75 is Habib. You see he hits Bruce Smith flush in the back, but beyond the offensive tackle. That's an illegal block in the back once you're outside of that zone between the two offensive tackles.
Loss of 1 on the play. They spot it right at the 50. 3rd and 11, and all kinds of action here as Hansen charges across. Elway winds up going down.
Looks like Don Maggs, the right tackle, came out of his stance early.
False start before the snap. 78, offense. 5 yards, 3rd down.
Just a little overeager. Maggs filling in for Russell Freeman. A look at what the two guys have done tonight. Elway with 2 more completions. Each one with an interception. Kelly no touchdown.
3rd and 16. Elway throws. They have to get to the 39 for a 1st down. They get it. It is Cedric Tillman to the 35-yard line.
And that time another vintage Elway pass.
And a lot of time, Frank.
Oh, he could have run the ball, but he would not have picked up the necessary yardage in all probability, so he fired one in between 2 defenders. He thinks about it right here just for a moment, but he knows he has a lot of yardage, and he sees the open receiver and gets it into Tillman.
Buffalo came with only 3 guys, got no pass rush whatsoever, and got caught with it.
20-yard gain on a 3rd and 16. Elway slides to a stop at the 35-yard line. Cornelius Bennett gives him a leg up.
Wise move on the part of John Elway. Cornelius Bennett, one of the better athletes that play that position. So fast, so quick. Elway spots that 97, and down he goes.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. At the 36-yard line. 5:15 left in the 3rd. 24-14 Bills. Rivers in motion. Big rush. Elway steps up. On the move is John. He takes it down to the 27-yard line. Darryl Talley makes the tackle, and we'll have a 3rd and 3 upcoming.
Well, John kind of fooled him a little bit. I think Talley expected him to go into the hook slide, and John decided that we need all the yards I can get. He's got 2 Buffalo Bills coming right at him. One of them, I think, is Mickey Washington once he gets out of the pocket. Take a look at this. John will make a move to the outside right here. I think they're expecting the hook slide, and Washington and Talley are both kind of flat-footed as John dives forward for about another 3 yards.
3rd and a long 2 at the 27. Making his presence known as Mike Lotus.
Now, I'm not sure that's the type of presence you want to be known.
Defense. 5 yards.
That's a 1st down for Denver. The easy way.
Well, that was a long 2. That major mistake by Lodish, and it didn't even look like Elway had started the count. He just pulled the trigger. John Elway has one of those good hard counts that all good quarterbacks has. Yeah, a little bit. Maybe he did. Maybe that was enough to get Lodish underway.
But certainly not enough of a head bob to get called.
No.
At the 22-yard line, 1st down Broncos. And a draw, Russell. And he spurts for 7. He's tackled there by Marcus Patton. The ball is at the 15-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 3.
Boy, that was a good-looking run by Russell.
That's fine run. Little stutter step to the outside, breaking it back against the grain.
He gets a good lead block by the rookie, Derek Clark. He got in there and chopped one of the Buffalo linebackers to the ground.
At the 15, 2nd and 3. Elway flips one. It's complete. It's close to a first down as the receiver, Leonard Russell, is stopped at about the 12-yard line. Very close to a first.
John had to do a little improvising there. He and Clark almost had a major collision in the backfield.
If you need somebody for improvisation, though, he's the one.
He is the one.
He was under enormous pressure. Was able to get it off to Russell. I'm sure Russell wasn't planning on it coming.
That's Jim Fossil on the right, the offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos, and he's the guy that John Elway is hearing in his helmet. His counterpart for Buffalo, Walt Corey, the defensive coordinator, working the ever-present swizzle stick.
It's a brand new one this year.
Yeah, I think it's a brand new one every quarter.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah. You think he chews the same end all the time, or does he flip them around? Walt Corey used to be a linebacker with the Kansas City Chiefs, was a good player in this league.
It'll be 3rd and inches. Key play coming up at the 12-yard line. It'll be the 9th play of this drive that has consumed almost 5 minutes. Bills led 17-7 at the half. They lead here 24-14. Denver very good tonight converting on 3rd downs, and several of them have been long 3rd downs. Elway keeps it himself and has the first, makes it to the 11-yard line. First down, Broncos.
Good surge by the Denver offensive line, and this almost capacity crowd here at Ridge Stadium is becoming a little uneasy.
Goodyear blimp stars and stripes floating high above Ridge Stadium in the Buffalo suburb of Orchard Park. It's about a 35-minute drive from downtown Buffalo.
Should Buffalo get in trouble, and it looks like they are certainly on the precipice of that, they have not performed well offensively in the 4th quarters of the first 3 games.
On first down, great protection. Elway guns into the back of the end zone and gets away with murder. Matt Darby with an easy interception and drops it.
Ball almost knocked Darby down. Look at it.
That ball almost impaled itself in Darby's chest. Man alive, that ball hits him right there. John had all sorts of time. Look at it. How do you just, that has such a look of Darby being the intended receiver. Well, you don't get second chances very often in this league. Here's one for Denver.
He was seeking Anthony Miller, the 2nd and 10 at the 11-yard line. 4-man Bills rush, great protection again, knocked down. Scholes covering on the play intended for Shannon Sharp.
Oh, and Kurt Scholes made a fine play on Sharp. He had the coverage all the way. Elway tried to sneak it in. He couldn't do it. Scholes in that nickel defense for Buffalo makes a good play.
Third and 10 at the 11-yard line. Elway knocked down, deflected. Cornelius Bennett was there. 4th down.
Elway's going to hurt one of these Buffalo Bills here if they don't watch out. He almost got Darby, and that time he flattened Cornelius Bennett with the ball. These Buffalo Bills are going to want combat pay to be out there when John's throwing the football.
Now Jason Elam to attempt a 28-yard field goal. Jeff Campbell to hold. Elam missed one from 41 earlier. This one is good. And they're back within 7. 1:55 left in the 3rd quarter. Buffalo 24, Denver 17.
My mom says a couple of ounces of antifreeze can kill our dog. Even 2 tablespoons can be bad for me. So we use an antifreeze that's safer for kids and pets. That's less harmful. My dad says any antifreeze can protect against freezing and rust. But is it less harmful for me and JoJo? That's what my dad cares about. What about yours?
Sierra, it's not just antifreeze, it's safety freeze.
I'm John Elway, quarterback of the Denver Broncos. This is my family, my wife Janet, my daughter Jessica, Jordan, Juliana, and son Jack.
They're the reason why we believe we should all preserve and protect the family.
As parents, we'll want our children to carry on the traditions that make this the greatest nation on earth. One of those traditions was born right here in Denver in 1887 when 4 clergymen and a woman created the community chest, the organization that we now know today as the United Way. Their goal then was to help children and families in need. For more than 100 years, the United Way hasn't lost sight of that mission. And when you give, you're saying you care about families and children in need. That is really the American dream, the freedom to be the best that our hearts and minds can make us. And that dream is working in your town too. United Way, reaching those who need help, touching us all.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
That's the lineup tomorrow night in prime time right here on ABC. Full house, me and the boys. Home Improvement with Tim Allen. Grace Under Fire with Brett Butler. And special episodes of Coach and Blue Skies. And there is your Wednesday night lineup right here on ABC. Well, the Denver Broncos, who were almost left for dead, down by 17, have been resurrected on 2 drives, resulting in 10 points. It's 24-17. Thurman Thomas is out of the game, and Buffalo will get it as the kick is accepted by Bucky Brooks at the 14. And good coverage, and the ball is loose, and it did go out of bounds, and then it is kicked out for good measure.
Don Beebe, I was just looking at that ball.
I think Bucky Brooks is going to learn in this league you are not going to run many kickoff backs by trying to swing it to the outside.
Buffalo will keep possession. It went out at the 18.
Great speed. This worked well in North Carolina.
And Brooks' knees looked like they were down on the ground well before the ball came out.
There it is.
Yeah,
touching the line.
Good look from our guys in the crew. Craig Janoff directing down the truck. Kenny Wolf producing.
Kelly from the 18 flips it over to Kenneth Davis. And Davis takes it out to the 24-yard line, a gain of 6, 2nd and 4 with a minute and a half to play in the 3rd.
Screen play on the part of Buffalo. Kent Hall, the center, out in front of that one.
He really runs well for a big guy, doesn't he? Yeah. You get a center out in front of a play, and you've got to snap the ball and then go backwards. You got something special.
Here's Davis on 2nd and 4. And Kenneth Davis out to the 36-yard line.
He just was a little bigger. He would look like Thurman Thomas. Same kind of shuffle move, break back against the grain. Fine running back.
We talked about their depth, and Davis spelling Thurman Thomas at quarterback with Frank Reich through the years spelling Jim Kelly. I mean, it'll be forgotten in history, but Reich was the guy who led the comeback that day against the Oilers in the wild card game.
Well, there's a tipped ball that Metzelhart catches. That ball, wasn't that ball hit by somebody?
Wobbled. Looked like the path was altered.
There it is, hit right there at the line of scrimmage by number 99.
Metzler's at 6'7" was able to go up and get it.
James Ronette.
Pretty doggone good play.
2nd and 5. Davis. First shot to the 46 is a little short of the first. It'll be 3rd and 1, and that's the end of the 3rd quarter in Orchard Park. Buffalo leading Denver 24-17, and back we come with the 4th quarter of Monday Night Football after this word from our ABC stations.
Thursday on McKenna.
By yourself, right?
Cassidy goes overboard for a guest.
Cassidy!
and Brick doesn't like it.
How far are you planning on going with this anyway?
As far as I want to.
On McKenna, Thursday here on ABC.
You know her as the sexy, controversial Hollywood star. 2020 uncovers a side of Sharon Stone you've never seen before. 2020, Friday.
The O.J. Simpson trial is underway. Amalia Beretta reports from L.A. The Lowell curfew begins, and in sports, a local hero fights for the heavyweight title right here in Boston. To the game.
From across the seas, Beck's delivers the grand tradition and taste of the German art of brewing. Beck's, the #1 imported German beer.
It's the Monday Night Madness game, brought to you by Bob Stores, starter and NFL Pro Line. How do you play? Just pick up a game card at any Bob Stores location. Gotta be easier than picking up a football. It is. Win prizes like Monday Night Madness t-shirts. Yes. And NFL starter jackets. All right. Or the grand prize, a trip to Super Bowl 29 in Miami. See you there. But hurry, get your game card while they last at Bob Stores. Come on, guys.
News Center 5 reports live from the O.J. Simpson trial all this week.
The final time, Marino 34 such drives. Elway and Montana 26. Can Elway make it 27 tonight? We'll find out as the Buffalo Bills convert on the 3rd and 1 to start the 4th quarter. Kenneth Davis takes it out to the 49. And how about this with Thurman Thomas already gone? Bruce Smith goes walking off.
He certainly did not get any indication that anything was wrong with Bruce.
From the 50-yard line, Kenneth Davis takes it to the 41, written down by Randy Hilliard after a pickup of 9.
9-yard gain.
Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deardorff, Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, 24-17 Buffalo. Crowd has quieted down. Davis, he is stopped at the 40, very close to a first.
What are the throwback years they're representing tonight? Get that out. 65, I think, for Denver. 64.
64 for the Broncos.
They wore those uniforms last week in their debacle with the Los Angeles Raiders and are probably distressed at having to wear them again this week.
Buffalo with a first down. And Kenneth Davis, now the workhorse, picks up 5. He's tackled at the 35-yard line by Elijah Alexander.
Dan and I were both given throwback jerseys of our own, mine from the Giants and Dan from the Cardinals, and somebody promptly lifted mine out of the booth last week.
Mine made a trip to Connecticut, and I live in St. Louis. One of the crew,
mine might have gone to Colorado.
I got mine from Armani. Here is Davis picking up 2 to the 33-yard line.
Bruce Smith, we're told, is suffering from an intestinal disorder and has to make a trip to the locker room, so he will return.
The most spotlighted such trip in history, I suppose. 3rd and 3. And his contact, there's a flag down. There are 3 flags, in fact. Reed and Randy Hilliard.
And I don't think it's going against Reed.
Randy Hilliard, early in the game, had one called against him right at that spot.
Pass interference, number 21.
Ooh, they're going to call it against Hilliard.
First down.
Hilliard trying to get back into the play, and I don't think any question about that. He just drove an arm right up into the chin. Not playing the ball, he's playing the receiver, and he gets the flag.
And then moves it to the 5-yard line and makes it 1st and goal.
Here comes the blitz by Denver.
And Davis takes the ball and gets ankle tackled very nicely by Rondell Jones behind the line of scrimmage. Marv Levy. I asked him if he's thinking about retiring. He said, no way. I love coaching. I love my owner.
He had a great line about it. He said, if you're thinking about it, Al, you have retired.
That's right. On second and goal, it's incomplete. In fact, George Halas coached until he was 72 years old, and I asked Marv if he thought he could do it that long. He said, why not? I stay healthy. It's not that I want to break George's record, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
One reason, though, he doesn't own the team like Halas did.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to be the head coach if you own it.
You know what? He might as well own the team. You'll never find an owner that thinks more of his head coach than Ralph Wilson does of Marv Levy. They are very close.
Justifiably so.
Third and goal from the 6.
The blitz again, and it's picked.
Davis. Oh, and a great tackle by Mecklenburg at the 10-yard line.
Boy, that was a big-time play by Carl Mecklenburg.
Another defining moment, too, for the Denver Broncos, that they have been romped all over this season, and now they got their backs up inside the 15. And at least they forced the field goal unit back on the field, and a fine open field tackle by Mecklenburg.
And for a unit that has been missing a lot of tackles all season long, that was well done by Mecklenburg.
28-yarder for Steve Christie. They tack on 3 more. 11:21 left in regulation. And the Bills on top by 10.
Brought to you by Proof Positive from MCI. When it comes to long distance for business, it's always the right call.
You're looking at millions of dollars of lost savings. Savings you never received because your business used AT&T. Which is why when it comes to savings, hundreds of thousands of businesses are demanding proof. MCI will analyze your AT&T bill and give you Proof Positive, written proof of how much your business can save by switching to MCI. So call MCI and see how much of this is yours.
The work week. It's where we meet the world in full stride, with a week full of jobs and a truck full of opportunities. And there's one pickup that's perfect for a week like this. Ford F-Series. With the muscle of the most powerful diesel pickup engine ever, the convenience of a convertible console seat, and a full payload of our legendary toughness. More reasons why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck 17 years running, and that's a lot of work weeks.
Wednesday's a great night of comedy.
We're having a baby. This is great news.
I'm so glad that I'm having your kid, not one of them other guys I'm sleeping with.
An all-new Roseanne, Wednesday on ABC.
Well, after what was euphemistically known as a brief intestinal disorder, Bruce Smith is back. Didn't miss a play.
Long drive for the Broncos, and he didn't miss a play.
Buffalo on top, 27-17. That's Glenn Milburn, number 22. Trying to figure out where Christie's going to go with it. He's the guy they want to run the kickback. And Milburn has to go into the end zone.
You can sit on it, Glenn. You can sit on it.
Yeah, even though you touched it, I think he didn't realize
if the rule carries it into the end zone, he could just down it, and they're going to call it a touchback.
He was confused as to the application of the rule.
First down on the 20-yard line.
He never had possession, so he can simply down it in the end zone.
As long as the impetus of the ball takes it into the end zone.
And all he has to do is stay in the end zone.
All Milburn has to do is just sit down.
He was lucky.
Very lucky.
There he goes at the last minute.
Introducing Ford Contour. Gold, a world car for the 21st century. Example, the advanced Quadrelink rear suspension. It was designed to allow rear wheels to adjust in sync with the front, giving Contour precise control in cornering and braking. Then it was put through 2 million miles of rigorous testing just to make sure. The totally new Ford Contour, a world car for the 21st.
So, what do you think? You look tough to me. You just don't see that these days. I'm impressed. I want those qualities on our team. Think we can get them? Let's go ask.
Hey, that's Ellie's head scout.
Could you come over here, second son?
Yeah, you. Going to the show, baby.
Could you turn around? You know if these sweats come in teal? Is that seam double-stitched? Do you like the way it flows?
Looking for tough athletic wear? Get Russell Athletic. Get tough.
Flexible.
Pittsburgh is out to play like men of steel, but Houston has found its winning ways. It's a key division showdown next week on ABC's Monday Night Football.
11 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Buffalo on top, 27-17. The Broncos begin this drive from their own 20-yard line. John Elway out of the shotgun. Sets up the screen. Reggie Rivers picks up 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. And that aforementioned jersey has made its way to the booth, Dan.
Yeah, here's a throwback. This is the old Cardinal jersey from back in the 30s. You can see on the sleeve the old CC. Back then, they were the Chicago Cardinals.
Played them many times there, Dan.
You know, as an offensive lineman, I would have loved it with the numbers that small on the front there. I think he could have got away with a few more holding calls and had him blamed on the guy next to you there.
You would have absolutely smelled him that one.
2nd down, 5 from the 25-yard line. Elway throws, and it's incomplete. Scholes is there to break it up, intended for Sharp, and a flag comes in. Sharp insistent that the flag be thrown.
Pass interference, number 24, defense.
And he's, no question about the arm getting in.
Yeah, he's got the left arm hanging behind. So Frank and I were given these jerseys by the league, and we've been wearing them around. Al decided to get into the spirit a little bit, Frank. Earlier tonight, he came down on the field. And
he's got a jersey?
Yeah, well, he dressed up.
Oh, get out. You guys.
He dressed up. You notice a bow tie, and now a mustache. Looks a lot like Tommy Smothers a little bit with that mustache on there.
So terrible.
Al, I'm glad you got into the spirit.
Terrible.
Elway airs it out, and it's a bump, but no flag as he tries to get the ball into Anthony Miller, covered by Thomas Smith.
Good job by Smith.
Al really was auditioning in case the NFL officials would have gone on strike. That's all been put to rest, and there's no threat of that happening, but Al thought that he might tune up.
That ball just underthrown a little bit, but Thomas Smith playing the ball, incidental contact, good call.
Yeah, Thomas Smith gave a pretty good nudge there at the end of that play and got away with it.
2nd and 10, a little flip to Russell, who takes it out to the 40-yard line.
I'd like to see Al again. How long would it take us to pull that back
We
up?
see that again. I'm filing suit against the tape truck immediately. Knock it off.
The only official who went on strike.
Come on, Al. Turn it. Let's see this. Huh?
People should only know how this is done.
Al, I think it's one of your shining moments.
You guys are terrible.
Like the Lion King.
The tape truck. I'm going to get you guys.
You should have done the game in that outfit, Al. You look cute in a bow tie.
Going to take you to Niagara Falls. 3rd down and 3 from the 40-yard line.
Again?
Yes.
Well, Bruce Smith, there's contact before the play. This is dead. Bruce alleging that there was some sort of movement on the Denver line.
See, everybody's got bow ties on tonight. Officiating crew, Bob McElwee, Al Michaels.
Just one last thought about my jersey. If anyone has it out there, I would love to have it back. It did disappear in Dallas. I don't have my collectible.
Number 78, defense.
Well,
5 yards, first down.
that's a risk you run when you come across a line like that and tap somebody. You force the issue. The officials saying nobody move. Well, you see a slight little nudge there by the left guard, I think Corbin Lucina, but not enough for an official to notice.
That is the 13th offside or offside related call we've had in the game tonight. From the 44-yard line. First down for the Broncos. Elway. And Elway takes it out to the 50-yard line, and when you go head first, you are fair game. Feet first, you can't get hit, or at least you can't get hit legally. Head first, they can come after you.
Cornelius Bennett in there. One of the great strippers of the ball in this game today. He is so quick. And he runs down so many plays from the backside, much like Lawrence Taylor in Lawrence Taylor's prime.
Second down and call it 5 from the 49-yard line. Elway almost got to the line of scrimmage. It is Reggie Rivers off and running, and he gets taken down inside the 30-yard line. And there's no flag. He did not cross the line of scrimmage. He was real close.
What a presence, though, on the part of John Elway.
25-yard gain. They'll spot it at the 25.
The blitz was on. They were coming. Elway spots a little bit of a gap. Now spots the receiver. Henry Jones was right up there in his face. Flips it out. Reggie Rivers keeps the drive alive.
Just barely behind the line of scrimmage was Elway. First and 10 to the 25. 8:14 left. Knocked away. I'm not even sure Bennett saw it, but he got in the way of it. Intended for Leonard Russell. Second down.
Boy, that was a waste of good pass protection by the Denver Broncos. They really gave John a good look at things. The problem was that Leonard Russell was no more than a couple yards away from Cornelius Bennett, and that's just excellent football by Cornelius Bennett. That was not an accident. He saw Elway was going to throw, saw where he was going, fell away and got the hands up. Great players make plays like that, and they're not by happenstance.
Bills leading by 10. Second and 10 at the 25. Elway. Loss of 1.
Well, he made 2 Buffalo Bills miss him. The third one got him. And John Elway starting to provide a little spark here for Denver.
Loss of 1, third and 11.
I think there's some fatigue on the front line of the Buffalo Bills. It's about the time of the game where it starts showing up after chasing Elway.
Third and 11 at the 26. And it's underthrown. Fourth down intended for Milburn after Cornelius Bennett, by the way, will get credit for a sack on the prior play where Elway was stopped for a loss of 1.
Field goal unit comes out. Keep in mind the play before this one, had Elway not scrambled, not gotten back to the line of scrimmage, had he been sacked as most quarterbacks would have been, this would have been a much more difficult shot for the field goal.
Now it's a 44-yard attempt. Campbell will put it down. Jason Elam will kick it. Officially, it'll be 43 yards. Line of scrimmage, where the spot is the 33. The kick is good. Started out a little right, then hooked right down Broadway. And once again, the Broncos hold it within 7. 7 minutes, 21 seconds left in regulation.
There are good reasons why Ford Taurus is America's best-selling car. The 220 horsepower, no-compromise performance of Taurus SHO. The combination of outstanding design and extra room in Taurus wagon. And the latest addition to the Taurus family, the sporty new Taurus SE. Now there are even more reasons for you to make America's best-selling car your car. 2.9% financing, up to $750 cash back, or special lease terms. Now on Ford Taurus.
In the 80s, a lot of companies invested their pension funds in questionable real estate. Unfortunately, that's life. In the 80s, we invested most of our pension funds in investment-grade bonds. That's New York Life. New York Life, the company you keep.
The government taught him to kill. Now he's using his skills to help one woman seek revenge. Sylvester Stallone, Sharon Stone. The Specialist, rated R. Starts Friday, October 7th at a theater near you.
What do you get when you cross a high-quality conventional motor oil with an advanced formula synthetic? A revolutionary oil that protects better than regular oils, yet costs 40% less than full synthetics. Durablend from Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline.
What sort of humanitarian takes money to rescue injured children, then leaves them with almost nothing? Turning Point investigates Wednesday.
Is Bruce. John Elway and the Broncos down by 7. The Broncos are off next week. They have a bye, then go to Seattle the following week. The Bills go to Chicago against the resurrected Bears, coming off their win last night over the Jets. Jason Elam kicking off. At the 6-yard line, Bucky Brooks brings it back out to the 23-yard line, and that's where the Bills will take over.
Speaking of the Jets, good news, Boomer feels that he might be back, maybe even next week. They're not out for any prolonged period of time.
It could only come from here. Canada, the home of ice. Molson Ice. Ice brewed by North America's oldest brewery to be colder and bolder. Yet smooth as ice. Molson Ice. From the land where ice was born.
From Gillette comes a uniquely different form of protection for men. Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant. Unlike a stick that can stay in your underarm hair, this is a soft gel. It goes cleanly through the hair right down to the skin surface to fight odor and wetness where it begins. And that means powerful all-day protection. The revolutionary Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant. Monday. The day we get the world out of bed with a wake-up call of traffic horns, school bells, and factory whistles. And one truck is perfect for a busy day like today. Ford F-Series, with the most powerful diesel pickup engine ever, the convenience of a convertible console seat, and the safety of a standard airbag. More reasons why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck 17 years running. And that's a lot of Mondays.
Well, when you look at those numbers, the difference in this game really, the 14 points that Buffalo has scored following Denver turnovers.
Classic defensive struggle there.
But Buffalo with 143 yards rushing. That's a solid night's work on the ground as we look at the newest and the oldest Denver Bronco. Dennis Smith, signed just a couple of days ago, but at 35 years old, he replaced a happy John Elway as the oldest player on the team.
Here's Davis after the 31, and you're looking at Smith in a position he's been in a lot tonight on the sidelines. Remember, he did not sign until the middle of the week. He started the game, played a good part of the first quarter, but has played very sparingly since then, and maybe not at all. I don't remember him in for one play in the second half.
And I think his starting the game was really a ceremonial move by Wade Phillips in trying to inspire his football team, because Dennis Smith has been an enforcer his entire career, and I think Wade Phillips just trying to make a statement. Let's hit somebody tonight.
2nd and 1, and Kenneth Davis out to the 37-yard line, tackled by Rondell Jones, playing in Smith's spot.
Well, Denver's always had success with Atwater and Smith against Buffalo because they play one or the other like a linebacker in their nickel defense, and it really doesn't weaken them against the run with these two hard-hitting safety men. But they have not had Smith much here, I don't think at all, either in the second half, Al.
Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills in situations like this, leading by 7, all of a sudden you go from the no huddle to a more conventional style to take as much time as you can off the clock. Under 6 minutes, they have a first down at the 36-yard line. Davis. And if you're just picking this up late, Thurman Thomas took a helmet to the knee earlier, and it's been Kenneth Davis in the second half. Thomas done for the night.
It was not a sprain or a twist, which was the good news. Bad news, of course, he couldn't come back to the game, but he probably will not miss a whole lot of action with the bruised knee.
Well, the Denver Broncos need to make something happen. They can go home from here saying that they tried hard, but that's not going to be enough if they fall to 0-4. Trying hard is just not enough in the NFL. This is a team that desperately needs a win, and to get a win, they're going to have to come up with a big play sometime between here and the end of this thing.
2nd and 7. Deep drop, set up the screen. Kenneth Davis looking for room to roam, takes it out to the 44. And now comes a very big play for the Denver defense. It'll be 3rd and 2 with under 5 minutes to go.
Kelly using high percentage stuff to keep the clock moving, and another Denver Bronco is shaken up. That's Randy Hilliard,
who's already in for Ray Crockett, and who started and has departed.
Hilliard has been the focal point of a lot of Buffalo attention tonight.
And in comes another Buffalo Bill. It's Randy Fuller checks in to take his place in the secondary, and this is Charlie Waters, who serves as defensive coordinator and secondary coach, is having to run a lot of folks into this game tonight.
Randy Fuller is a rookie out of Tennessee State, 4th-round draft pick. You're looking for someone to go to on work against on a 3rd down passing situation.
Now the good news is it looks like Hilliard maybe just shook out a few dusty spots in the old head, and looks like he may come back into this game. But as Al said, a big down.
Fuller lines up against Beebe, and the pass is incomplete, intended for the backpedaling Kenneth Davis.
Oh, and there's a look of a guy who knows the importance of protecting a 7-point lead. First down drives stakes through the heart of your opponent, and they didn't get one.
And the Broncos will get the ball back. Chris Moore to punt, Lynn Milburn to receive.
One thing about Milburn, he's already shown us tonight, exciting things happen when he's in the vicinity of the football.
High kick and not particularly long. Milburn picks it up on a bounce. Milburn! Oh, low struck it. Moore got a finger on him, and that's all it took to knock him down near midfield.
Oh, what a chance he took. Milburn.
Chris Moore saved the touchdown.
He got the kudos from when he went to the sideline. He was so fortunate he didn't bobble that ball.
Well, what a bounce. The ball actually hits about 7 or 8 yards to his right.
Might have hit Ronnie Bradford. He's number 23.
You're right. It did look like it hit Bradford when he was on the ground.
Whether it did or not, I think Milburn thought it did. So give him a check for a good play.
Milburn is gone. Oh. Moore sweeps his ankle and gets him down, or it is a touchdown for the Denver Broncos. All right, let's take a look at this again. Look at the bottom of the screen. On the ground, lying prone, is Bradford. And that ball hits him. That ball hits his leg and bounces right over to Glenn Milburn.
Denver at its own 47. Down by 7. Russell. Stop. Back of the line of scrimmage. Loss of 1, maybe 2. Lotus gets credit for the tackle.
The problem with that play right there is that the ball ends up in the arms of Leonard Russell so fast that the Buffalo defensive linemen haven't even left the line of scrimmage.
They didn't know it was a draw.
Isn't the key to that play, Frank, that you wait till the linemen go past and then you get them the ball?
They're just playing the run.
Second and 11. 3:48 to go, fourth quarter. Reggie Rivers, he gets shot down by Kurt Scholes at the 46.
That was a lick that Kurt Scholes delivered. Helmet on helmet. Reggie Rivers just turned around and took it right in the chops.
Rivers, I think, did a fine job holding on to the football.
Yes, he did.
You'll see the ball come loose on a lot of hits like that.
Third down, 10. Shannon Sharp lines up in the backfield. There's all kinds of movement on the left side.
Well,
Zimmerman was moving again.
Zimmerman moved, but Bruce Smith moved first, and the question is, did Smith come into the neutral zone? If Bruce Smith didn't come into the neutral zone, it's no foul.
Neutral zone infraction, 78 defense. 5 yards, third down.
Bruce Smith can move like that and try to draw the guy off sides only if he doesn't cross the ball. Take a look at the top. Bruce Smith is across the line. Now he's trying to get back. But the ruling was that his shoulder pads are still in the neutral zone. So that's against the Buffalo Bills.
Third and 5. Just inside the 49. 27-20 Buffalo. Elway buys time. Trying to find somebody open. Throws into traffic. It's knocked down to the 25-yard line. Matt Darby got there. Shannon Sharp, the intended receiver. Great job by the Bills secondary.
And Darby's still down.
That was a great effort on the part of Sharp.
Jones is still down,
keep that thing from being picked off. And Jones is down and Darby's down.
You will see so often that when defensive players get hurt, it's because of the collision with another defensive player, not the collision between an offensive player and a defensive player. Sharp in the middle, Darby on the left, Jones sliding on the ground. Really wasn't that violent a collision between Jones and Darby, but as you can see, they're both...
Well, they're in really awkward positions.
Yeah.
At the time the contact is made. Very vulnerable.
I thought that ball would have been caught by Sharp if it wasn't for Matt Darby's intervention at the last minute. Good play by Darby.
Meanwhile, if you're Wade Phillips at this very moment, you have a 4th and 5, you have 2:56, you have all of your timeouts and a 2-minute warning. Do you want to go for it here? Or do you want to punt and take your chances and take your timeouts defensively?
Well, if this was a Rocky movie, Henry Jones retained his title because he was the first one up.
Well, Elway's already come back onto the field, so it would appear that they're going to go on 4th down. A lot of time. I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's a long way to go.
You got a good punter that can drop it for you somewhere around the 10-yard line. You get good coverage.
It's one of those real fascinating calls.
It sure is. It sure is. This is one of those that
you also have a defense that's been giving up an average of 385 yards a game.
If you're in a mood to second guess, you'll be able to have fun with this.
And maybe one of the reasons he's going for it is that the two safeties are both out on this play. It's 4th and 5. 3-man rush. Elway steps up, throws, has the open man to the 25 at Shannon Sharp. And he goes right there between the safeties to convert.
Good call and good reasoning, Al. You're right.
They could have had that first down 2 different ways, I think. I think John Elway could have taken off upfield with the ball.
He has great
but
presence. He knows he could have got the first down, and by getting it to Sharp, he gets big yardage.
Well, Wade Phillips gambles and comes up big.
It's a first down at the 24. Clock running, 2:15. Broncos have an eternity. All of their timeouts and the 2-minute warning. Elway guns one. It's caught inside the 20-yard line by Anthony Miller. He takes it to the 19-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 5, and we have come to the 2-minute warning at Orchard Park. The Buffalo Bills holding on, leading the Broncos 27-20.
He was perhaps the greatest running back the game has ever known. And on the day he set the NFL's all-time rushing record, his uniform was sent to the Hall of Fame. His own arrival was only a matter of time.
Hi, I'm Walter Payton. My induction into Pro Football's Hall of Fame is an honor that will always be special to me. But that honor was made even more special because my son Jared presented me for enshrinement, something that no other son has done for his father.
Your friends and your fans, I say congratulations too.
We're both thrilled with the hall itself, a treasure chest of football history with its regal enshrinement gallery, its action theater, its authentic mementos and exhibitions. From 100 years of pro football, the hall does more than celebrate the game I love. It lets the future touch the past.
The Hall of Fame, where legends never die and the season never ends. This message furnished by the National Football League.
Yards by half. Denver dominating here in the second half. And they have 6 more yards than do the Buffalo Bills to this point, but the Bills have 7 more points.
Can you say it's as easy as Buffalo being minus Thurman Thomas? Less than 100 yards here in the second half.
Controlling the ball. That's certainly how Buffalo runs out the clock.
Since 75 game-winning drives in the last 2 minutes of the 4th quarter overtime. Marino 19, Elway 17. 2nd down and 4. Broncos have all of their timeouts. The ball's at the 18. We asked Wade Phillips last night, what do you do in a situation like this? You come down to the end of the game. Do you go for 1 to tie, 2 to win? He said, I'm inclined to kick and go to overtime. But it depends on the time remaining. He hedged it enough, so I'm not exactly sure what he'll do. Milburn takes it to the 16, 3rd down.
I'm sure Wade's not sure what he would do if he gets a touchdown on this drive.
Consider the personnel that's in there, the people that have been injured in this game, the fatigue of the players. It all comes into play.
Well, they need to get a touchdown first. And then it'll be real interesting if that happens.
3rd down, long 2 from the 17. Elway throws. Milburn has it. Steps out of bounds after he picks up the 1st down. Mickey Washington with the coverage. 1st down with 1:27 remaining. Well, as Dan said before, in this league, you don't walk away with too many moral victories.
No.
You got to give Denver a lot of credit for not laying down and just dying when it got to be 24-7.
I couldn't agree with you more.
At the 12-yard line, Milburn to the 6-yard line.
But a victory is a lot nicer than a moral victory. And Wade Phillips, if they get in the end zone, is going to have a strong temptation to go for 2. Being 2 yards away from winning a ball game on the road, if you lose the coin toss, you may not see the ball again. It might be your best opportunity for a win.
2nd and 3 for the first, 6 for the touchdown. Under a minute to play. Elway dancing. Elway throwing. Almost intercepted. Henry Jones had it and dropped it.
I think the intended receiver was Milburn, and right into his hands. Henry Jones couldn't handle it.
That is the 3rd time tonight that John Elway has drilled a Buffalo Bill with the football. First of all, no pass rush whatsoever. Henry Jones right there. Henry Jones joins Cornelius Bennett and Matt Darby.
Look at Milburn. Meanwhile, look at how open Milburn is here in the left hand. Oh, my goodness.
Look at the upper left of your screen. Glenn Milburn, a blown coverage in the Bills secondary, and John can't find it.
Ooh. He almost blended into the crowd.
He almost did.
He's so open.
Well,
you know, can't believe it.
The white pants, the white jersey, and the white border
just
going around the edge of the end zone. It did wash out, Frank.
There's absolutely no pressure on Elway whatsoever. He must have 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Well, this game has ended up with an exciting conclusion. Not that it's over yet. The chance of overtime very real.
.45 seconds remaining. 3rd and 3 at the 5-yard line.
And still 2 timeouts for Denver. But more importantly right now, they need either a first down or a touchdown. They can still get that first down without scoring.
Come up in the gun. Elway flanked by Rivers and Russell.
Bruce Smith moves inside.
And they give it to Russell. He puts his head down and takes it to the 4. Oh, it's 4th down and about 1.5 yards.
All the way to Russell.
Elway looking over.
It's 4th and 2 from the
clock
4.
ticking down.
Boy, and Buffalo's decision to move Bruce Smith into the middle paid dividends there because he ended up being at the point of attack. And it worked out that they had their best defensive lineman where Denver was attempting to run the ball.
Denver takes a timeout.
This is again Bruce Smith moves into the middle and look at the hole off to the left. If
Russell
Russell
was
could see
thinking
it.
first down, though. He has got the head down. He's not thinking end zone.
No.
He's thinking, I'm going to pick up this first down. And again, Bruce Smith with a tremendous effort.
Yeah, Leonard Russell was in the battering ram mode. You could see that he had the head down, the body leaned forward.
He's not looking for gaps.
And he was going to take his 235 pounds right at the Bills.
Ball at the 4.
And the noise for Denver here is going to be hard. It's going to be really tough for Denver to run this play.
4th and 2. 25 seconds left. 7-point Buffalo lead. Elway throws out of the end zone.
The ball slipped out of his hands.
Another flyer
on the biggest play of the game for the Denver Broncos. The ball slips out of his hand and floats clear out of the back of the end zone. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
So many great moments this man has given us. This one, just a flyer, a wet ball, takes off.
He's trying to throw it into the end zone. He's got Cedric Tillman standing there. You see him right there.
Bennett would have made it impossible.
What do you do?
What do you do?
The guy who brought you here, and the ball just gets away from him.
Bills will run the clock out. Denver will take its final timeout with 14 seconds remaining. One more kneel down, and that's that. We go to Three Rivers Stadium next week. The Steelers coming home with a mark of 2-2, and the Houston Oilers come to town. AFC Central Division battle. College football Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, featuring those games. 2 weeks from tonight, we go to the Meadowlands, where the Minnesota Vikings take on the New York Giants in what is now shaping up as one of the more attractive matchups of the season. Jack O'Hara, our executive producer. Kenny Wolf producing tonight's game, directed by Craig Janoff. Joe Savo, our technical director. Jaime Bravo, our associate director. Ed McKenna, our production manager. Steve Hurt, director of information. The unparalleled George Hill, as always, handling our sets up here. Malibu Kelly Hayes, our spotter, and the gang. And we'll head on to Pittsburgh as the Denver Broncos head home from here with a mark of 0-4. Bills tied with Miami now on top in the AFC East with a record of 3-1. as they defeat the Denver Broncos by a score of 27-20.
Well, hang in there, Bronco fans. That's all I can tell you.
Off week next week, then it's on to Seattle. We'll talk to you from Pittsburgh next Monday. Until then, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Lynn Swan saying good night from Orchard Park, New York.
ABC's NFL Monday Night Football has been brought to you by the totally new Ford Contour, a world car for the 21st century. Lay's potato chips, bet you can't eat just one. Sierra, it's not just antifreeze, it's